Okay, perfect. And we should be going. Should be.
Cool.
Yeah. So, hi. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm okay.
Okay, that's good. So this is something different today. Um,
Well, different for the stream, but not so different for me and you.
yeah, basically. As you may well know, I have a intense love of basically every card game. And there's a card game I used to play years and years and years ago called the Pokemon card game. Some of you might be familiar with it. If you're not, that's fine. I'm going
It
to.
sounds familiar for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, Pokemon might be a familiar thing to you.
Right, like,
If you've been around in the last 20 years, you might be familiar with the concept of a Pokemon at all.
nope. No, I know, I get it.
Okay.
I've even heard rumors that there's a new one and all this stuff, and
Yeah.
but
This
but
game
a
has
card
these.
game. I'm having flashbacks to a slide and like a sandbox, and getting yelled at by a professor.
Yeah. So, good old shaman. But yeah.
Eldrazi Pikachu.
So this was a game that I played something like 16 years ago. I liked playing the Game Boy Color game.
Oh
Um,
yeah, with
that's a cool game, but
the
that was
the
about as
guy.
yes, the guy.
I can't remember his name.
But there was a Game Boy Color Pokemon trading card game. There was also a DS one that didn't get an English release or Game Boy Advance. There was a
Imakuni.
Imu, yeah, Imakuni, you say. But yeah, the anyway, I basically left it off from there, and then like, about a month ago, yeah, I want to say about a month ago. I can probably actually see how long it's been, but about a month and like 2 weeks ago, I got introduced to the fact that this existed. Like you had mentioned it before.
Right. I mentioned it to you like 2 or 3 months ago, which is when I like started
Mm-hmm.
playing it, and I played it for a bit, and then I sort of was like, I'm not exactly good at card games. Like, I'm okay, but it's like I'm at the point where I have to get into standard, and I kind of don't care about standard.
Uh,
And then I just kind of stopped. And then like about a month after that, you got into it, and I'm like, wait, what happened here?
it just sort of happened. The answer to your question is yes, Kavanaugh. There are shiny Charizards. But so anyway, I came back to it, and it's been fun, and also it's like a free thing, so I wanted to show it off.
Yeah,
So
it's definitely free. You can
free-ish.
definitely download it and play it.
All right, I'm gonna show off the
And
really
it's
shitty AI because the AI is terrible. But while showing off the shitty AI, I am going to uh, sh- show how to play the game to people.
I think if you battle the ones that don't have the green check mark, you at least get a coin for doing so.
I'd have to figure out which one.
Like you can click on the check mark on the bottom, I think, entirely to
Let's
zoom
go
to that
with
train.
this one. All right, so the idea here, so the game has like different little structure decks. You start with a couple. I'll start with one of these, the green one or the blue one. Oh, yeah, these look like WikiHow people. So, funny thing, this game started as like a browser flash game in 2011, from what I can find, and
Oh,
basically
really?
its art style never advanced past a flash game. So,
That's kind of amazing. I didn't realize that.
yeah, it was a browser flash game in 2011, became a downloadable thing in 2012, and its client has had like 5 major overhauls.
Yeah. I
Which
wouldn't say this is a modern UI, but it's at least a functional
so
UI.
anyway, I'm just going to go in and I'm going to explain the game of Pokemon to you, the viewer, not you.
Okay.
I get to
I'll
make
I'll,
this is
I'll
me.
ask silly questions.
This is me. I get to make my person because you get to make your own little flash person. Okay, so the way the game works is you start the game like much like Magic. You have a 60 card deck and have a 7 card starting hand. Um, the idea of the game is you play your Pokemon and are trying to beat up your opponent's Pokemon. Um, to that end, let's actually start with the So you have your active Pokemon and then up to 5 on the bench. So that's your 6 from being Pokemon. And then you have these prize cards, which after you draw your 7, they're cards that are just set aside. Every time you knock out an opponent's Pokemon, you get to take a prize card from here and put it in your hand. And then if you take all 6 of them, you win the game. So that's your knocking out 6 of your opponent's Pokemon, because that's how Pokemon works. You have to use your attacks. So there's a Pokemon card. It's going to give me a little timer soon, I think. Actually, no, AI might not give me a timer.
No, not with AI.
Okay, perfect. So Pokemon has, I'll talk about the useful things here: HP, different attacks, and weakness, resistance, and retreat. But we'll just focus on the HP and attacks first. Each attack has a cost. This little star, it means colorless, and this leaf means leaf, grass energy. Much like the mana cost of a magic card. I'm going to be using a lot of Abyss Hunted. Everything you're saying is wrong. So everything you've said is wrong. So perfect. Sorry. I'll go over all that. But the you can play 1 energy a turn, much like much like a land in Magic.
Yep.
This game was actually controlled by Wizards of the Coast for quite a while. But so you can play 1 energy a turn, much like
land.
Yeah, much like land. And then you get to make 1 attack a turn, though you can't attack on the first turn.
No, whoever goes first doesn't attack but can play energy.
Yes.
I don't think they can use abilities either on the first turn.
You can use abilities and such on the first turn. I mean,
oh, okay.
I'm just going to ignore that. So what else do I need to explain about? The layout of a card and such.
I mean, you can have up to 6 Pokemon total, 1 active, 5 on the bench, unless you play a stadium. Stadiums are like enchantments. There are no instants. There's only sorceries, but sorceries don't cost mana.
So yeah, your energy attaches to your Pokemon. It's not like lands like in Magic. It's each Pokemon has their own energy. Yes, there are equipment/artifact equivalents. Those are called tools.
Tools. Yeah. I'm not sure if green definitely has a tool.
Yes, this deck has 1 tool. So we'll get there sooner or later. And hopefully I draw a supporter, because I want to show those off because they're important. There's 3 main types of cards. There's Pokemon. Okay, we've seen those. Energy. Use it to use your Pokemon's attack. And then there's trainer cards. And trainer cards have a bunch of different subtypes. 4 of them. And do useful things. This one lets you...
Is it 4? I know there's item, supporter, stadium, tool.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought there was a 5th one for some reason.
If we go, there might be. So, anyway, let's end turn. But yeah, so oh, cool. They used that attack for some reason.
Oh.
But yeah, so so. A thing to note, this Pokemon is a basic Pokemon. It's an unevolved Pokemon. Evolved Pokemon exist, and you have to play them over the top of...
Not exactly a flip card.
Like
you play like a stage 1 on a basic, and a stage 2 on a stage 1.
And it just goes over the top of it. So if I ever draw Sim Sage, I'll just place it on top. It'll gain a new health value, new attacks, and these values also might change.
Yep. It doesn't change the prize cards the opponent draws unless it specifically says on the card. It just is more of a card investment, basically.
Yeah, and then,
if you can win with only a basic Pokemon, you kind of want to, because that's less cards you're playing from your hand.
Yeah, you do have to evolve on the fly. And if there's anything I'm not making clear enough or any questions, go right ahead. I'm not the greatest at trying to pass this information along. I tend to miss something. Does evolving heal your Pokemon? It heals it of conditions like paralyzed, poisoned, etc., but not of damage.
Yes. You can also heal it from conditions by retreating. Each card has a retreat cost.
Yep. So like in order to like switch this Pokemon out, I would have to pay 1 energy and discard that.
Yeah, and that's discard.
Yep.
Retreat is a cost you discard. Every other energy that's attached
Stays on.
Stays on.
Yes, you can't evolve on the first turn of Pokemon's in play. You're correct.
Except if you play a stadium, but that's complicated.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to say it now. Every single thing I've said has a except on it, and a card will tell you the exception. So here we have Chespin. We're going to play Chespin.
Hell yeah. Oh, we've even got the evolution in our hand, too.
We got the full line. So what I'm going to do is kind of use Pansage to draw cards while we build up Chespin, which, 1 energy and you do some damage, flipping coins. This game likes flipping coins.
Mm-hmm.
So Chespin has 60 health and 1 energy to do an attack that does between 10 and 40 damage. Okay,
well,
cool.
0 and 40, technically.
Yeah, you're right, 0 and 40. Quilladin gains some extra health and gains 2 different attacks. You aren't able to use the attacks of the unevolved versions asterisk before you cut me off.
And it's very important to note that Quilladin needs more energy to attack, but its attacks do more damage.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess, Genetic Scientist is right. The game isn't actually that complex. It's you have Pokemon, you put energy on your Pokemon, you attack the other Pokemons, and try to claim your 6 knockouts before they get theirs.
Or you mill them.
Yeah, I was just gonna say there's 3 different ways to win the game. So I got my Nuzleaf. I can just evolve Seedot here. There's 3 different ways to win. Either you get 6 knockouts, 6 prize cards. Your opponent doesn't have a replacement Pokemon. So like if I knock out Manaphy here and they didn't have anybody else ready to go, it'd be like if you ran into a trainer that just had 3 Pokemon. You win.
Yep.
And also at the beginning of your turn, if you fail to draw a card, you lose. So very specific to note, it's at the beginning of your turn. If you fail to draw a card, you lose. So I've seen that. Greninja. Yeah, Chestnut is sort of silly looking. Chestnut. So Chestnut has an ability.
Right.
Pokemon have attacks. We see this here, and then they have abilities. Some have abilities as well, which give them either like come into play effects or constant things that are on, or etc. This one is anytime it's damaged by an attack, deal 3 damage back. Deal 3 damage counters, or 30 damage. So.
I just explained in text how mulligans work.
Yep.
In that they're automatic.
Yeah, so if you don't get a choice to mulligan, you take a mulligan if your hand has no Pokemon to play.
Yeah, and specifically they have to be basic Pokemon, right? Since you can't play Stage 1, Stage 2.
Correct. So Delphox is the one you're thinking of. Braixen is the second stage of that. But yeah, so here we go. Here's a tool. So this is a Pokemon tool. It's basically an equipment sort of thing you place on a Pokemon. The Pokemon can only have 1 tool attached to it, and they do something. This means whenever it's damaged, you draw 2 cards. And then we also finally have the final card type here that's important. Supporters. Supporters are... So if you have any memory of Pokemon from like way back in the day, you probably remember things like Bill and Professor Oak. Professor Oak being discard your hand, draw 7, Bill being draw 2 cards, and these cards had no cost attached to them. Arcanix, Phantom Forces. The way they fixed this as the game progressed is making a lot of these kind of busted, powerful cards into supporters, which have the rule you may only play 1 supporter card per turn.
Mm-hmm.
So,
this game these now have things like draw 3, or like your opponent discards 4 cards or something.
They have like discard your hand, draw 7. Professor Oak still exists. It's just that Professor Oak is a supporter card and is also
Yeah.
Professor Sycamore or Juniper or whichever, depending on where you are. Anyway,
Professor Tree, some tree.
so so then you have item cards. You can play any number of those a turn. This one is just search your deck for 2 energies, put them in your hand, which is sweet. There you go. That was what I said. Is there a hand limit? No. The ace trainer here is you can only play it if you're behind, if your opponent has more prize cards. Each player shuffles their hand into their deck. You draw 6, they draw 3. So if you're behind, it's sort of a catch-up. So anyway, I'm going to retreat here. And attack with touchdown. I always think of Chestnut as the football Pokemon because of that. Oh, so one thing.
So he's ranking up in the League of Assassins now.
It's true. So now we touched on retreat. We also have weakness and resistances because it's Pokemon. If you're weak to something, say a water type versus a grass, oh hey, Shifter. You take double damage. If you have a resistance, you take minus 20 usually, but there's a number next to it. So I don't think any. Actually, sorry, Dodrio has resistance to fighting because it's a bird and it's weak to lightning because it's a bird.
Yep.
Shiftry here has a cool power that lets me discard Leaf Energy to draw 3 cards every turn, once a turn. So you'll see here I have 9 cards in hand. Does this game have dual types and weakness canceling? Yes and yes. The answer to that first one is not yet, technically, but they nerfed Bill by making it Bill exists sort of as a supporter card. Also, it's better. It's draw 3 rather than draw 2. I'm going to start getting... So, okay, so our opponent here attacked with Bubble, which paralyzes on a coin flip. Paralyzed just means you can't attack next turn, or can't retreat either.
It's, I guess, the equivalent of like Frost Breath from MTG. This tap this creature. It does not tap during their next untap.
Yeah.
So what status effects are in the game?
So we've got 4 main ones and a couple others that technically exist, but the 4 main ones we have are Paralysis, which is the cards turned sideways like this. We have Sleep, which is the cards turned sideways the other direction. Sleep is your same thing as Paralysis. You're unable to attack or retreat, but every turn you flip a coin. On heads you wake up, and every turn means your opponent's and yours. You have Confusion, which means it's upside down. If you attack while confused, you flip a coin. On tails, you deal 30 damage to yourself and fail the attack. And Poisoned, which just gives you a little counter that says you take 10 damage every turn. Burn also exists, but it's just poisoned by another name.
As far as I know, Burn is flip a coin.
Isn't
if
it?
heads deal 20 damage, if tails do 0.
Yeah, like I said, it's poisoned by another.
It's poison, but weird. There's 2 poisons.
But it's the same expected outcome as poison. But
Yes.
poison is the one that's much more.
I don't think you can retreat for free
Well,
while
you
confused.
can. Well, what Benak's saying is that you can retreat. So Confusion back in the old game, you actually had to flip the coin on the retreat as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't realize that.
Yeah, and you lost the energy. So say I went to retreat and spent the 4 energy to retreat.
And then you hit yourself for 30 damage and lost 4 energy.
You don't hit yourself.
That
on
would
the 30.
suck.
Yeah, but you just lose the 4 and can't retreat.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, free, quote unquote.
all of those cards exist. I'm going to show off a lot of cool cards. So one of the reasons I really like the game is that in the actual Pokemon game, there are a lot of Pokemon that are just kind of useless and lame.
There's always a Pokemon, like, there's always going to be someone who loves a Pokemon, no matter what Pokemon it is. But there are some Pokemon that are just, that, you know, you're never going to see in Smogon or whatever it is that's, like, the competitive Pokemon makes.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, so I drew another supporter here. So, like, again, I could only choose to play one of these supporters on the turn. Oh, there we go. That was the other. So now I have, like, a choice. So, Lysander, a lot of the supporters are, like, characters. Professor Sycamore is the discard your hand and draw 7. things like that. Lysander basically forces you to, like, allows me to say, oh, well, this Alomomola is the Pokemon that has the most energy on it and is the biggest threat. I can force it out and attack it before it even has the chance to use Surf, which does 80 damage. Because right now it has 3 energy. But now I can't play the Pokemon Center Lady because I've already played a supporter on the turn, which heals 60 and removes all conditions from a Pokemon. So the Shiftry I've been attacking with for 3 energy does 20 damage times the number of Pokemon on the bench, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And yes, Lysander has the same effect as Gust of Wind. Pokemon Power Curve is weird because, like...
There are some Pokemon that are like, even cards that are like, this card isn't going to do anything, and then sometimes it's really powerful in certain situations.
All right, okay.
Like there's a Hoothoot that says both you and your opponent draw 2 cards. That sounds really bad, and then you play a mill deck and it's really good, and it's just acceptable.
Yeah, they try to balance, like, much like a card game, like you have cards that are good and bad and such. Hey, potion. But like I feel like a lot more of the cards are playable in different circumstances.
Yeah. Yeah, Deranged Dance is kind of ridiculous. When you sort of start the TCGO, you can get these basic decks, and each of them sort of has a Buster card in it.
Yeah.
And the Buster in green, I would say, is
it's Chestnut or
Shiftry. That guy.
My personal favorite currently is this one that uses Zygarde to attack for 120 for 3 energy, which that's its own health. 120 is a good safe number in these decks that's basically going to knock out literally anything other than like a fully evolved Pokemon like Serperior. And then also...
You got a Shedinja card?
Shedinja is in...
It's in one of the basic... It's in one of the decks.
Hold on, it's in Storm Rider. One of them, at least. Shedinja has 30 HP and deals 50 damage per each damage counter on it, so for each 10 damage it's taken. And then it also, like, can deal 1 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon and switch out. It's very easy to kill, but can be a very powerful threat for one. It's not.
It has no weakness or resistance either.
I mean, it's gonna die to anything. It's gonna
die to anything, but
yeah. But yeah. So the way, like, one of the odd things about this, I guess, is if I'm going to be making a lot of Magic comparisons. A lot of the decks are going to be playing a ton of, trainer cards to be able to keep things moving, and maybe something like 10 to 12 energy, and the rest being the Pokemon that make up the deck. And we have a bunch of supporters that are, when you build... So Tierno is the sort of like Bill supporter that just says draw 3 cards. No cost to playing it other than you can only play 1 supporter a turn. And like you have like your supporters and then like your normal things like Ultra Ball that just you discard 2 cards to grab any Pokemon from your deck. Yes, that Ben X, right? Your Shedinja just dies if you evolve it at the wrong time. Is there a double battle variant for the TCG? No, I don't believe so.
At least not online.
Yeah, I don't. So I'm gonna do one more of the. Let's go with Sky Guardian. That one's got Lugia in it, and it's pretty cool.
Can you show off either like the normal trainer or like one of the smug asshole trainers?
Sure, this dude.
Yeah, Zach has a really interesting deck, and then there's like the lady who's like water and dark who just yells at you and is like, you're a loser.
It's so I'm gonna do one more of these showing off just kind of again a easy back and forth of the AI. So like, okay, I've got Snorlax. Snorlax is very huge and takes forever to be able to attack. It takes 3 full turns to power up to just use this first attack, which if it's asleep, it deals 120 damage, and then 4 energy, so 4 turns to power it up to use Swallow, which deals 50 and heals 50.
Hmm. But
Uh,
of course, you can use your double colorless if you
yeah.
grab it.
I guess I didn't mention that when I passed by there. But yeah, so Snorlax is big, has a lot of health. Uh,
Well, this Snorlax is, anyways.
every
There are
Snorlax is.
multiple Snorlax.
Every Snorlax, I think the lowest health of a Snorlax is a 100. Like, it's a Snorlax. They're all huge.
That's a okay. I thought that was a Snorlax in the back, but it's a Miltank, I think.
Well, it has 100 health anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different variations of the same Pokemon in this game. Um, so like this Miltank, there's this Miltank and then a very different one in a different deck. They were really tough. So I have a bunch of these like evolutions in my hand. Whimsicott, which evolves from Cottony, and Wigglytuff, but I can't play them because I don't actually have a Jigglypuff around.
Yep.
It is a shame. So Snorlax like does 30 damage plus another 90 if it's asleep, but this deck has no way to actually put Snorlax to sleep. Here we go. So I can play Tierno, who's one of the rivals from.
We drew two more
Snorlax.
evolutions.
Sweet. All right. Uh, Baby Pokemon exists. Asterisk. They're around. But
Oh, yeah.
they're not basic Pokemon. Like, you don't have to evolve your Pikachu from a Pichu, is the thing there.
Yep.
Alright, so Bidoof here is just sitting here wasting our time. Flip a coin. If heads, prevent all damage done next turn. So, like, I can attack, but I don't do any
Wiggle,
damage.
wiggle.
Wiggle.
So this is kind of what the AI does. Are they at least better about not skipping turns now?
No.
No? Damn.
They skip turns a lot. The AI is really bad. Bidoof. Bidoof just sits here and doesn't do anything. It's a Bidoof.
But
What do you want
then
from
it
it?
evolves into its second form and gets ridiculous sometimes.
Alright, but anyway, I think from here, I think I've basically shown off how the game functions. Shauna being shuffle in, draw 5. So, I'm going to go ahead and concede this and go play with one of the decks I have built to show off.
I was hoping Zach was going to show off his rad combo, which is a Snorlax that puts itself to sleep plus Sparkling Robe, which prevents status ailments.
So, much like Magic, there's a number of different formats in this game. The two that really matter for actual play are Standard and Expanded. Standard being much like actual Standard, is the last 2-ish years of 2-ish years of cards, and Expanded is about the last 4 or so. Legacy is a format that I've only seen online that just goes back through any of the cards that existed on here, because this, like, the online game doesn't actually have all the cards from the last 20 years. It just has cards from as long as the online version has existed, which was when Heart Gold and Soul Silver were released. So, like, Diamond and Pearl and back don't have cards on here. Yeah, that deck was named Fire 1 because Fire, as a deck.
You're good at card games, but not necessarily naming them. It's okay.
No. I'm really great at naming like my Hearthstone decks, but I just don't care about them. And so theme is kind of what I ended up playing a lot on here. You play a theme deck against another person with a theme deck, which is a really easy way to like get wins for the day, and kind of like getting coins for Hearthstone.
And rank up in your versus rewards, which are
this little thing down here.
Every 3 weeks these reset.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and play my fighting deck because that's the one I like the best.
A lot of the theme decks are passable. Like, they're not great, but they're passable.
Okay. What's the Your Egg of Pokemon TCG? I'll show you that. That exists.
I was about to say Hoodoo, but I think Hoodoo actually does things.
No, I'll show you Your Egg. Alright. So
Wait, did they add an animation to making, like, the deck shuffle?
Okay, so I don't know. It was always there for me. Anyway, I only have one basic Pokemon in my hand, which is Carbink, but I have Carbink Break, which I can't turn so you can read it.
Diamond Gift.
Break evolution is a this game has a number of different types of evolutions, but like mega evolutions and such. Break evolutions are basically the card turns gold. I don't understand the flavor of it, but it gets more powerful and gets an additional attack. You'll see how it works next turn when I get to play it.
Yeah. Do you mind if we talk a little bit about the evolutions that are there right now?
Yeah,
Like
sure.
we've got the basic ones,
Mm-hmm.
which are like basic stage 1, stage 2.
Yep. So
And we
Charmander,
saw that with
Charmeleon.
our theme deck.
Yeah, Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard.
Yeah. And then the game introduced EX Pokemon.
We'll see those anytime I draw a literal Pokemon in my deck that isn't named Carbink or Hawlucha. We'll see an EX. Or
I
if
would
my
also
opponent
imagine our
has
opponents
no,
winning them.
they're Phantup. No way. They might have Shaman EX in their deck, but that's it. This is a all basic type deck. It's also a pretty bad matchup for me because they all have resistance to fighting.
Yep.
I Phantom evolves to Trevenant, and Trevenant's ability as well. It's the active Pokemon. You can't play items from your hand, so
Oh,
I can't
right.
play Ultra Ball. I can't play this, which will happen next turn if it can attack with this Ascension attack. Just means. All right, our opponent played Battle Compressor, which just says search your deck for 3 cards and discard them, which sounds lame but is incredibly powerful, as they just showed off. They played Versus Seeker lets them take any supporter from their yard and put it into their hand, which is one they searched for. Wally, allowing them to evolve on the first turn.
And then they evolve into Trevenant, which
I
says you can't play item cards.
Yeah, so
Which is bad for you because you've got one Pokemon.
this will be interesting. Well, okay, I can fix this. How reliable is
Is
splashing this game? Quite.
yeah.
Um, so I can't evolve into the break Carbank on the first turn because I can't evolve on the first turn. I can. I could choose to play items if I wanted. Yeah, advantage means the matchmaking expects that player to win. Yes, because I can play Lysander to switch this Phantom out, which I think I'm going to do. Because right
Right.
now,
You need the advantage.
well, I need to be. I want to be able to play the Ultra Ball. Is really it. Um, but yeah, if I
I guess
pull,
you could throw on Fighting Fury Belt too.
yeah, which I will, but not on Carbank because it's useless on Carbank. It's only
Oh,
on
right, because you're gonna break it. Right.
right, basic Pokemon. So now I can play items. So I'm going to play Ultra Ball, which says discard 2 cards. To oh man, the Hex Maniac also could have done that too if I wanted to not do the Lysander. Hex Maniac prevents abilities. Let's discard the Hex Maniac and we'll go grab. Alright, so this shows off a couple different Pokemon in here. So we talked about the like basic Pokemon and evolutions. There's a type of Pokemon that are Pokemon EX. They are like evolved Pokemon, like Lucario here, but they count as basic, have way too much health, and if you knock them out, they count as 2 prizes. They count as 2 knockouts. So I am going to go grab Shaman, which has the ability when you play it, draw up to 6. Card draw in this game is kind of nuts.
Yeah.
I am actually going to play the fight.
I'm not. Does yeah, break actually counts as an
Break
evolution.
does. This is my favorite deck. Oh, there we go.
You're very familiar with it.
Right. I did not draw into a Pokemon I wanted to put the belt on though. Like Hawlucha here only does damage to EX Pokemon. That's how, like prevalent they are. And, like I'm playing a card that specifically only does things to EXs. This can't be damaged by EXs. I'm going to pick up the Lysander. And I don't think I want to put down this Fighting Fury belt. Let's just pass.
Yeah, I think that's
So,
the right idea.
man,
Now, EX Pokemon now eventually got an evolution, specifically Mega Evolutions.
yeah, that's where Mega Evolutions exist. Is that like if so? Shaman doesn't have one here. Okay, so he's going to use the Ascension attack, which lets him evolve the Trevenant from deck. So again, I can't play items. That's fine.
Yep.
I'm basically okay with this now. Okay, so here's how the breaks work. I'm going to play card make break, and now it's just over the top of the card.
Yeah.
So it adds on the break evolutions. They don't overwrite everything.
Yeah, it's the only evolution that does this in that it changes the health and adds an attack or ability or something, but doesn't get rid of the existing ability or attacks.
Yeah. Let's use Karina. So I have 4 supporters in my hand, so I can only use one of these cards on my turn.
Yep.
So Lysander, as we've seen before, allows me to switch Pokemon, but now that our opponent doesn't have anything for me to switch into to turn off the items locking, I'm kind of stuck with it until they play something new.
Yep.
N is each player shuffles their hand in their deck, and then you draw a card for each remaining prize. It's probably my favorite card in the game.
But it's not good here because it means our opponent draws 3.
Right, and Karina is search your deck for a fighting Pokemon and an item. The item is not going to be very useful, but the fighting Pokemon will. I'm going to go ahead and grab... I either want Regirock or Zygarde. Regirock isn't really made to attack. It just has this power that makes all your fighting Pokemon deal an extra 10 damage for existing. And Zygarde is the Pokemon I use to attack, along with Lucario in this deck. So I am going to grab... I don't have any energy. I do have an energy in the yard. Ooh. Let's go ahead and grab Zygarde then. So I'm going to grab Zygarde and the Professor's Letter, I think.
Yeah, Professor's Letter is like searching. It's search for 2 energies, put them in your hand.
Okay.
It's really good. It's an item, not a supporter.
Yeah, but I can't play it because Trevenant is in the way. So again, if anything isn't making much sense, again, I chose Zygarde over Lucario because Lucario is weak to Psychic, whereas Zygarde is weak to Grass. But yeah, N is my favorite card in this game because it's like this really well designed comeback mechanic. Like if you're losing really badly, like if you're down to they have 2 or 1 prize left, you just go N. You have 1 card left. I get 5. Anyway, I'm going to attack with Diamond Gift, which allows me to take 2 energies out of my discard pile and put them on a fighting Pokemon I control. I only have 1, which I discarded to the Ultra Ball earlier, but it'll let me bypass the 1 energy per turn rule.
Yes. Now, when you evolve to Mega Pokemon, your turn ends, in general. Other evolutions don't end your turn.
Right. Actually, quite honestly, I've never actually seen a Mega Evolution end anybody's turn because of the Spirit Links, but...
Yep.
Anyway, they evolved into Trevenant Break because this has a little break. So it went from 110 HP to 160 and gained an additional attack. This is kind of the main card of this deck, this Trevenant Break. It has the attack Silent Fear, which for 2 energy puts 3 damage on every Pokemon. But they're going to use the other attack, which does 60 and 20 damage to 2 others. Okay, how do I want to do this? And this stadium allows them to use both players to use psychic attacks for 1 colorless less. Oh. Can't Lysander usefully. I don't want to N. I really don't want to N right now. Most weaknesses are 2 times. Some of the older cards actually have deal extra damage, but it's 2 times. You have a fuse, basically. I'm just going to heal that, and I don't have many good options because of this. I want to be able to play this Professor's Letter to allow me to charge up Zygarde, which would be able to actually do some real damage here, but it's going to be very hard for me to get to that point. It might just be worth it okay, now it's just worth it to play the end, because my opponent's going to play Sycamore here and draw 7 new cards. So the game is very fast-paced as far as how you go through your deck, because you have supporters like Professor Sycamore that allow you to draw 7 and allows you to draw 6. I can't retreat anymore. Oh dear. Yes, that's correct. The fuse, like, all right, I'm going to play Lucario, and then I'm just going to play N.
Yeah, it's based on actions.
Yeah. So I have, so I can. There can only be one stadium in play, so I'm gonna replace their stadium with mine. It allows you to do 20 extra damage to EX Pokemon if you're a fighting Pokemon. So they used a card to discard the strong energy, which is a special type of fighting energy that makes you do 20 more damage, but I can just pick it right back up. So I'm gonna put that on Zygarde. But I won't do any damage here, because without that 20
No.
extra damage, the 20 reduction makes it even. Oh boy, another break.
Oh wow.
That's how the deck works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I only had like a couple of breaks. Like I was never into standard on this level.
Oh, I really like playing standard. It's a lot of fun. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to power up this to full. Play Karina.
Unfortunately, they have damage to the bench, which is frustrating.
Yeah, I'm going to grab that and muscle band. It doesn't matter right now what item I grab, but it might matter later. So let's go with muscle band.
I think since they know that you picked up, well, I guess now that you shuffled away Lysander,
Mm-hmm.
I was imagining they weren't playing any extra Pokemon since they knew you had Lysander in hand.
Correct. But I had to do that because Versus Seeker is an item, and they would have just locked me out of playing it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spend the 1 energy to retreat. Oh, man, I am so close.
Yeah, not quite.
It's off by 10.
Maybe just...
I want a heavy damage. I'll use the Cell Storm next turn if I need to heal
yeah,
up.
as a finisher.
Yeah, we definitely aren't. Okay. Wobbuffet, they might retreat themselves if they... Oh dear, alright. This is the worst thing they can do to me. So, Regirock coming out to the active. Yeah, this is not the best of matchups because of this. Alright, so they knock out the Shaman, they get 2 prizes for it, and they knock out the Halutron, get a prize for it.
Yeah, and now they're just gonna knock out the rest of your Pokemon from the bench.
Right, because I can't get this, because this Regirock needs 3 to retreat.
Yep, and there's no way we can get that as is, nor play our retreat.
Well, I'm not out of it. It's just
I don't think you're out of it, yeah.
It's like, because I have an item that allows me to give a Pokemon no retreat, but I can't play the item, so
Yeah.
I'm going to grab it anyway in case I find a way to, like, if I get my Lysander back. So let's get another one here, and we'll pass the turn. So yeah, this just does the entire point of the Trevenant Break deck is to be sort of a lockdown deck. You make it so your opponent can't play item cards. That's meaningless because I still kill it in 1 attack. You make it so your opponent can't play item cards. They use cards that let you discard your opponent's energy. They deal damage to the benched Pokemon as well as the active, allowing them to... yes, this is the official client. This is the real-ass client. I've got 1 turn, so... Even then, I'm not actually winning this.
Yeah, this is a bad situation.
This is definitely official.
This is
like I'm not
100%
lying.
official. I can't lie. I linked you with the official client. You can look at the people.
Yep, so that's going to be game here because they only need 2 prizes, and the next attack is going to do enough damage to Zygarde to knock it out. And then they'll get the game. And then a Broken Star shows up, and a wheel shows up and gives me, like, a coin, 1 coin. And that's the first play of the game of the day. After the game, by default, you can always look at your opponent's deck list, though you can turn that off if you don't want to show off your deck to your opponents. So we can kind of... I really like that feature because it lets you kind of see, oh, this is what they were playing. And, like... So, this deck is all about the Phantump and the Trevenant. And also uses Wobbuffet mostly because Phantump is only 4 Pokemon, and then this gives them 6. Even then, they're going to have to do a lot of mulligans. The idea is that so every time you mulligan, your opponent has the option to draw an extra card at the beginning of the game.
But of
So
course, if you draw an item cards with Trevenant in play, it's meaningless.
right, that's sort of the idea.
They're only
Um,
playing 9 energy, which is
well,
kind of
nope, that's actually kind of high because of Dimension Valley.
yeah.
Dimension Valley makes their Pokemon's attacks cost one less, and oh man, they're even playing like cool looking ones with like the
Is
Espeon.
Trevenant one-sided or two-sided?
Trevenant's one sided.
Okay,
That's its power.
that's what I thought.
So anyway, we don't need that deck. But yeah, out of all the decks I have here, the fighting one is one of the ones that I personally like. This is the one I like playing the most and is the most interesting to me. I have a number of ones that I've either built from the ground up, like the Fire one or the Abracadabra one, and then there's a couple that I've found deck lists that I thought were really nifty and built those. So like if I show off, and they're all based around really different things. So like this let's go with how do you earn new
Do you
cards?
want to explain earning new cards before we play? Like,
Yeah,
before we show off the new deck?
yeah, President Arc is correct. Pokemon, the Pokemon Company owns the game. Like Wizards hasn't done anything with this game in 10 years. So, that's correct. Um, Showing off new cards. So you get new cards in basically in booster packs.
Yep.
So and you get booster packs at the beginning when you start. You get them every time you can get them through these AI fights. You can
Yep.
get like a booster pack every time you get to 4 stars on a trainer,
Yep.
which
And
gets you like
each theme deck that you get 12 wins with gives you a booster pack.
yeah. So that's why a lot of these have like anyway. But there's also an in-game shop which you can spend your coins to uh, get booster packs. You can also redeem in real life booster packs.
Mhm.
Yeah, Vermilion's bringing up the real the other way of doing it. Like if a person like if there's someone who plays this in real life or you yourself play it in real life, when you like buy things, you can just they come with like a little code for the same exact thing on here, and then you can enter in the code and get those things. But let's go ahead and I'm gonna show off a pack because they're really silly when you open them. They have these bundles every week.
Yep.
Let's go with.
There are a couple other ways to earn packs. Once you
Mhm.
open it, I guess we can talk about them.
Yeah, because when I go to a collection, you're gonna see all the others, and I'm gonna have to show off the two different parts of this. I do
No,
not have disabled.
you can only use the currency gems if you are located in Canada.
Yeah, like I can't use them because they're America. So
This is result.
Mhm.
There are lots of angry threads on the Pokemon TCG forums that say Canadians are cheating.
what?
Did the game freeze?
Shred Red, I'm with you. Like it makes me laugh how everybody like looks like they haven't been updated in 5 years. It's so silly. So anyway, packs. There's like when you buy a pack from the shop, it has this little lock on it, which means it's trade locked. You can't trade cards that you open out of them. So when I open up this pack of Roaring Skies, like I can't trade. And then when you open up the pack, it brings up this little pack thing. It's gonna freeze here for a moment, just because that's what it likes to do. Which I
Is
think
it
this
actually?
is yeah, it does this every time. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Like it's going to unfreeze. This is just something that's been happening for me for like the last week. Ever since they did an update that broke things, which I'm sure they'll do another update that'll fix it.
But
Anyway.
break new things, I'm sure.
Well, that's the way of software. Anyway, you have to
Yes.
tear open the pack, and then you get the cards.
And then they pop out and they spread them out.
You've never
They
had a
show
phrase
you
like this? It always does this for me. Oh, sweet. I opened
They
it.
show you the basics and then the uncommons, and then they make you flip the rares.
Yeah, so you get 5 commons, 3 uncommons. Then there's a reverse foil slot. Like, you can kind of see it here. How, like, when I move my cursor, there's, like, a foil that isn't over the card art. That's called the reverse foil on it. And then you get your rare, and it's like, oh, boy, I got a Victini.
Wowie zowie.
Yeah, the open pack dot wave. Yes.
But if you don't want to buy packs or earn them, you can earn them randomly from winning a game or
right.
losing a game. There's like a roulette wheel that you get at the end of like a match, and
Yeah,
you can spin and roll on the pack or the mystery prize box, which sometimes is packed.
yep.
And then you saw the versus leaderboard on the bottom, which also can give you packs when you reach certain milestones.
Yeah, so like in here, every win gets you 10 points on the ladder, and when you get to
Or
certain points,
15 if you have a victory, I think,
if
or
if
advantage or something.
advantage, yes. And
And you see that
also
when we get to 1670, we get 5 Fates something
Fates
packs.
Collide packs.
And there's trading, and then there's tournaments.
Yeah, and so there's tournaments, which are what the tickets are for. These are literally like MTG event tickets. I'm sure you can buy them. I don't care. You spend them to enter into tournaments that have like, so like the theme tournament here. If you win the tournament, you get 2 Fate Collide boosters and a random booster pack, and those are tradable. And then if I go into trading, there's there's this dude who's always here. Again, the art in this thing is really silly, but like
It's pretty silly.
now since I have like a bunch of Fates Collides packs like that I can trade, it's like, oh well, I want to find Trevenant, and like I can find out, oh, like the actual Trevenant is worth about 4 packs. You can trade for, you'll see like postings on here. Basically, it's like a posting board. I kind of like this system a lot better. It's kind of funny. This system's hyper basic, but I love it so much more than Magic Online's trade animations. Like, it's so bad. Like just using a system like this makes me appreciate it a lot because of how bad like Magic Online's is.
I understand.
But yeah, so like if I want to see like, oh, what sort of things are there for trade, and it's like, well, I could pick up, Greninja Break, which is a cool
Really
card.
good card.
Things like that. You can search for specific things, or if you just kind of want to take a look at what's available and with your packs. That's the trade market, and that's that. Let's go ahead and do another game. I'm gonna do a different deck.
Yep.
Let's do any one of these you want to see.
I'm a personal fan of Dark Dragons, personally.
Okay, this one's fun.
The tournament structure changes weekly, I think. Like every week, the tournaments change,
Yes.
and then on the weekends, they're slightly different as well.
Yep. Shabadoo, you're dead on. I love the simplicity of all this. The only thing I just find the character models silly is all. That's literally like my biggest one complaint is how they look. I don't know. They look offsetting.
They're just a little off. It's
Anyway, so our opponent gets to start, which means we get the first attack. We don't have any. Okay, so this is how a mulligan works. We have no Pokemon. So our opponent puts their Pokemon down, puts their prizes aside, and then we show our hand. We reveal it. They get to see it, and then we draw a new hand. And this time we do have a Pokemon. Wow, this hand is bad. Oh my goodness.
oh dear.
3 Floatstones. I need my opponent to play N, so they get to draw an extra card because I mulligan one time. Oh man, and they're Greninja. Oh boy, I need.
Yeah, they're probably Greninja.
I can tell you that with 100%. Like,
I mean, I've seen people who are just playing like basic blue dot 2.0.
yeah, but I mean, if you're playing a Froakie, you're probably playing a Frogadier. If you're playing a Frogadier, you're probably playing a Greninja.
Yeah.
Cool items. Remoraid. There's a little game log over here in case you miss it when it flies by.
Yep.
So the idea, so the thing they're doing here, the way our opponent's deck is working is they're trying to use Greninja Break specifically, to do a bunch of damage very cheaply, which allows them to discard water energy to do damage in addition to their normal attack. I really love the art on Pokemon cards. They're
There are so many cute Pokemon cards.
Mhm.
I liked the Pokekon collection, which is like extra cute Pokemon, but a lot of the art's really good in general.
Okay, and they're gonna play Wally, which we saw earlier allows them to evolve from their deck. For Frogadier, Frogadier's attack lets you search your deck for the other 3 Frogadier and set them up in the back. You don't even need to like evolve into them; they just show up.
And sometimes some of the cards have full art versions, like this full art Sceptile.
Yeah, well, hopefully it. Oh, that is.
Wow.
This is me passing because I have Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna set up a Flintstone, and I really need to draw anything else. But yeah, Froggedier's attack is pretty good for letting it set up the other three Froggediers. Um, but
Right, water duplicates.
yes, this energy gives 2 energy of any type, but can only works on dragon types, and Yveltal here is not a dragon type. The entire point of Yveltal is this first attack that lets you put darkness energy from your discard onto Pokemon. That's why I like it. I don't know how to answer that. No.
Yeah, me neither. Vpra's, there's generally no conditions for playing Pokemon. Like, you can play a basic Pokemon at any time. You can play a basic Pokemon EX at any time, like, if your bench is open.
Yeah, I think they're picking up Wally, and they're gonna Wally into
There are...
a Pokemon being legendary doesn't necessarily mean that it's good.
Yeah.
Hey, Octillery. So the Octillery in this deck never is there to attack. It's there for this ability that says you can draw up to five. They chose not to evolve the Frogadier because they wanted to be able to attack at least once with the Frogadier to set up the 3 others. And I would love to draw, like...
No, I think this is the end here.
Alright, let's play Hex Maniac and pass. Much like any card game, there's always a bit of luck involved, and sometimes you can just get crushed.
Yeah. In general, Dragon-type Pokemon have multiple types and require multiple types of mana, land, energy.
Yes. I drew literal garbage. Why is this Garbodor flipping me off? I don't know. Anyway, Greninja's attacks, for 1 energy, it either does 40 damage and prevents all abilities from working, or 60 damage, which can go up to 80 if it bounces the energy on it. Hey, I drew Trubbish.
Hey! Can we put an energy on Trubbish?
It's not worth it. Like, this deck never attacks with... The entire point of Trubbish is Garbodor, which, if it has a tool on it, all abilities are off, which is what I want against this deck, because that turns off the Octillery, that turns off the Greninja Break that's probably going to come down. I'm probably just going to have to sacrifice the Yveltal here and hope that I draw something useful.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. So, how many shurikens to the face are we getting this turn?
He's going to replay that water energy, deal 60 damage, and then Yveltal's going to die. Luckily, it's just Yveltal, not like Yveltal EX.
Yep.
So they're only going to get 1 prize. But if I don't have a Pokemon to put in back, like up, I lose the game. So, I don't have much time. Yeah, I can't say enough about how much I love how different the art is on cards. They have a ton of different artists, and they're all very different. Like, I love this Trubbish. I really love this Trubbish here. Just sad little bag of garbage.
There's a really good Trubbish, too. Like, that one's sad, but there's one that's, like, surfing.
There we go. So, giant water shuriken. You can't read this because it's sideways, and that's worthless to you. Yeah, and I can't get that. Anyway, it allows it to discard a water energy to deal 60 damage to any Pokemon on the table. Now, if my opponent is playing correctly, they will deal 60 damage to Yveltal, get the knockout, force me to switch into Trubbish, then they'll go ahead and do the this attack, the Moonlight Slash, for 80 damage, winning the game. Because I don't think this was this the turn I Hex Maniac? I think this was after the turn I Hex Maniac. Yeah, because there's no, there would be a down red arrow next to it.
Here is a Trubbish surfing on an Empoleon.
Oh, yeah. That was a one-sided Wheel of Fortune, both side Wheel of Fortunes. I really wanted my opponent to actually play N. They're literally going to play Fisherman to pick up 1 water. Oh, no. They didn't have any... Oh, okay.
Oh, we're alive for 1 turn.
No, that's fine, because I get to evolve to Garbodor. Now abilities are off.
Right, but they still have an attack that will kill Yveltal.
I don't care. Yveltal can die for all I care. This thing is
Right, but
like,
then Trubbish comes out, or Garbodor comes out, and then it will slowly die.
it has a float stone on it. The moment I actually draw a real Pokemon, I'll be able to like fix that. At this point, I could put the Dark Energy on Yveltal and deal 30 damage, but the stadium just says heal 30 damage every turn.
Yeah.
I think that literally means it's time to pass. Because the Garbodor is the card I need to win this match. It's because it turns off the artillery they can't draw, and it turns off the giant water shuriken, so all they have is the attack. Let's just pass. We have to draw. We need to draw like one of the Pokemon in the deck, like Giratina. This deck plays like Giratina, Darkrai, Latios, or Latias. I think it's Latias. Shit.
It plays some number of cards.
Shit. I don't remember if it was Latios or Latias. Shit. Okay, Lysander. That's.
Right. That might be.
That's fine. It doesn't do anything. So Shadow Stitching again keeps turning off abilities, which is funny because Garbodor also turns off abilities, so it doesn't mean anything. And oh my god. Okay. Oh my god. Alright, so finally I drew a card I needed. And again, each player shuffles their hand into their deck, draw a card for each remaining prize. So they'll get 5 cards, so they'll go down from 7 to 5, and I'll get 6 new cards. I play a lot of things like this, you just kind of have to draw into some of them. Here we go, we're finally online.
I see dragons and dragon energy.
This is exactly what I'm looking for. Alright, so Giratina and Darkrai. So Giratina has an effect that means Mega Evolutions can't damage it, not relevant here, but Chaos Wheel says they can't play Special Energy tools or stadiums. Not totally relevant, but big. It needs 4 energy to attack, but these double Dragon Energy give 2 energy of any type, so it can use these on 2. My opponent did shut off abilities, and my Garbodor also shuts off abilities, otherwise I would Ultra Ball to go find a Shaman to draw up to 6, and etc. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, my opponent has like... Anyway, I'm going to leave Garbodor active for one more turn, I think.
I suspect it's going to die, but that's just my guess.
Honestly, I suspect my opponent should Lysander into Darkrai EX, but this can't die. 100 HP, there's no way they can kill this.
They could probably Water Shuriken and then Shadow Stitching?
Yeah, but it has no abilities.
Oh, okay.
Abilities are
right,
just
they can't
off.
Water Shuriken.
Right.
So no, it cannot die this turn.
Right. I'm going
There
to...
is one way it could die, I think. And that is
if my
Giovanni's Gambit?
Scheme would do... There's a couple ways. If they get rid of this float stone, that means the Garbotoxin's off. So they can actually use abilities. That would be bad. I'm going to have to just let it take whatever damage right now. So that's fine. Trainer's Mail. This is Impulse. What did they grab? I missed that. Town Map. I don't care. Town Map just lets you reveal your prize cards, so you know what you're missing, and you also get to pick the card you get. So like, oh, that's where their second break is. So if I can kill this break, they're actually usually these decks only have 2 to 3 Greninja break. So if I can kill this, I can get there. All right, a Path to Victory has, Muscle Band for +20 would also do it. There's a couple ways they could kill me, but I didn't believe in those ways because I just end my opponent. Anyway, I'm going to get to attack next turn with Giratina EX. I'm super happy about this. So here's the main issue. I know if my opponent does find Lysander, they're going to be able to kill the Garbodor. Do I want to... I don't think I want to end my opponent.
Sometimes you can't see what card they draw. I think Town Map... no, not Town Map. The mailbox thing specifically says reveal which one you put in your hand, right?
Yeah, and I usually... This thing's been really good for me for telling me exactly what they've done. So I'm going to do 100 damage. They'll heal 30, but they only have 170 health, so I'll be able to get the knockout. But the problem is they'll probably switch to this Greninja. God, I'm just considering N. I'm just going to attack. So if they play Lysander and pull out Garbodor, that turns the game back into their favor.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they can kill Garbodor, the game is much more in their favor again.
Yes, and they also then pull a second break out of their yard, or
Yep.
out of their prizes.
Yeah, or Sycamore, but it's much more likely that they grab the break.
Hmm.
Okay, so they're doing the swap, like I said. Which is this is great. This means they didn't have the they likely don't have the Lysander. I don't think they'd make that swap if they actually they would still make that swap even if they did. Um, what my next goal here? So I don't have too much time. This dies in 3 attacks. Like Giratina is really good here, but I need something more, which is where Darkrai comes into play. So I'm gonna go ahead and start using Trainer's Mail. Ooh, there we go. That's exactly what I was looking for.
Yep, that lets us kill the break.
Yes. Perfect.
Yes, power creep is ridiculous, Brave Sword.
Yeah. So in base Pokemon, let's talk about the history of Pokemon for a little bit. In the base game of Pokemon, people are aware of like Charizard. Charizard was the most powerful Pokemon in the base game. Like there's in notoriety, not in actual power. It had 120 health, which was the maximum at that time. It dealt 100 damage, which was just unheard of. You know, it's like one of the few things that does that much damage. Anyway, because I Lysandered and do another 100 damage, I get to knock out this break. And it's really satisfying to see all those cards go to the yard. And I get another Double Dragon. Nice. I can start setting up Giratina number 2 for when this one falls.
Mm-hmm.
Because this one is going to fall in one more attack. Ooh, okay. Shuffle 5 Pokemon from your discard pile into your deck. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. But anyway, back in the day, like 120 health was the maximum, 70 was an average, and damage. Okay, they're going to use their own end. I kind of like that. I don't like this hand too terribly much.
And basic Pokemon, like if you played a Pikachu or a Charmander or something, they usually had like 30 or 40 health.
Yeah, like the big hitters in the day were things like Electabuzz and Hitmonchan and Scyther, who all had 70 health and dealt 20-ish damage. Ooh, there we go. That's not what that was. The card I was afraid they would find was Startling Megaphone.
Does Fighting Fury Belt count as a tool if it's attached to an stage 1?
It does. It just doesn't do anything, which I'm completely fine with if this lives. But sadly, if they actually have a Water Energy, because now they have their Octillery online again, they can draw back up. If they have a Water Energy, they can just discard it to kill Garbodor before I can shut off things with the Fighting Fury Belt again.
It's true.
And here's their discard. Oh, no, they're going to choose to kill Giratina, which is also a fair choice. Giratina is a pretty big threat here. This denies me all of the energy I had set up. I really wanted this. So Darkrai's attack deals 20 more damage for each dark energy you have in play. The Double Dragon energy counts as 2 dark energy because it counts as any type. Anyway, they get 2 prizes for knocking out an EX, so they're likely going to take like Sycamore and the Greninja, or maybe the Energy and Sycamore, or maybe the 2 of those 3 in combination. I'm gonna put Darkrai out.
It will live, I think.
Here we go. There we go.
Malabar EX, my favorite.
Okay, so this is a one of in here that I like a lot. Whenever you attach an energy to it, you can put the active asleep. So we're gonna do that. Put you to sleep.
I love Malabar EX.
Turn off abilities, so now I can't use Malamar's ability again.
No.
But
well, that's true.
And then our opponent has 7 cards in hand, so I'm gonna end them down to 3. Ooh, yes. That's attack is Maximar.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's continue the setup. I want to play Max Elixir. You look at the top 6 and put an energy on a basic on your bench. Do I want to power up the Malamar more to attack, or do I want to power up the Darkrai to start actually... Let's power up the Malamar. And then next turn I have another supporter. Okay, so it woke up. 50-50.
Yep.
I want to start setting up... So the big thing for playing out the other Trubbish is that I can, like, have another Garbodor down that turns off these abilities. And the Giant Water Shuriken would allow our opponent to win very quickly.
Mm-hmm. I love Malamar EX because my one good standard deck would involve Darkrai EX, Malamar EX, and a bunch of like Malamar from XY, which I've just linked.
Mm.
Plus, there's a dark dog. I can't remember its name. Does extra damage for each Pokemon on your bench or
There
your
are
opponent's bench.
there are three float stones in the deck. All three were in my opener, but one of them got shuffled back from an N, so I still have one float stone left in my 32. I'm going to what I'm actually going to do to buy myself some time. Nice. Is Lysander out the Octillery. So the Octillery has 2 retreat cost.
Yes, which means we waste a couple turns.
Right. Like, the Greninja has free retreat, but so this means our opponent needs to have some way to flip this out rather than just constantly dealing damage. Yeah, there's 2 float stones in the yard. The third one's still somewhere. It got shuffled back in from N a long time ago.
What's our opponent's library size at?
16. The Sacred Ash kind of brought it back up.
Yeah.
And the fact that I end away a 7-card hand into a 3-1. So, alright, there. Yep. So we bought ourselves a couple turns, and I'm going to continue doing that with VS Seeker. Now, the question is if I want to power up this Darkrai. Lysander is Gust of Wind, but you can only play one supporter a turn. Absolutely. It's also, like, the best. I'm going to power up the Darkrai on the bench, I think. How many VS Seekers are in my yard? 1?
But don't you want that 30 extra damage on Malamar EX? I don't know.
Well,
I'm really not that strategic at card games.
I want to get this Darkrai to attack because it cares about all dark energy, including the 2 on Malamar.
Yes.
So the idea I have right now is that, okay, so my opponent's going to play a second energy on Octillery, retreat. Oh dear, okay, so this isn't going to work as well as I want it to because they have 3 energy to pick up, but that's fine. And then I was just going to go ahead and Lysander again. I'm just like, you know what, keep doing this. Like, waste your time. Because right now time is something I'm sorely in need of. Because they had to waste 2 turns retreating.
I think... No, they can't kill our Pokemon yet.
No, it's going to take them a while. Darkrai... Ooh, sweet. They bounced the energy to deal an extra 20 damage. Nice. Max Elixir, give me a dark energy and put it on this Darkrai. So now I'm going to do the same thing again. Hello, Lysander's here. Lysander. So now that they've actually set them back 3 turns, because it's going to be 2 turns to get the Octillery back online, and then another turn to put the energy back on Greninja Break.
Yep.
So hopefully I want to play Sycamore and draw Floatstone next turn, and then start getting as set up as possible. I should play Giratina and Double Dragon Energy. Hopefully I draw the rest of them. I do not want to play Veltal because I want to draw a dragon for this final
Yep.
part. Weaknesses and resistances do matter a lot. 3 Ultra Balls and Latias.
Well, that's a dragon.
Yeah. Do I want to play that, or do I want to... Because I could play that, or I could Ultra Ball into Giratina. Prevent all effects from attacks. I think Giratina's slightly better. I do need... Yeah. I am going to Ultra Ball away, because the thing is, like, right now I have very few Pokemon that matter.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna go ahead and get rid of... I know the other Giratina's in the deck. We're gonna get rid of Latios. I want the Giratina instead. So I have a number of other Pokemon in here still. I have a Hoopa, which lets you search up 3 EXs, but again, abilities don't work. Shaman lets you drop to 6 cards. Abilities don't work. So Giratina's the one we want. Oh, you're right. I should be checking that sort of thing, but... at this point, we again pass. Yeah, because one thing about, like, you know, I play 4 copies of the Double Dragon Energy, but they could be prized.
Yes.
Please
it's
retreat.
true.
please retreat. Like, do it right now. I love it. Ah, damn. Okay.
They want us to make the kill. Oh, good, we drew a dragon energy.
Now, now check this out. So double dragon energy, and then this Darkrai is at 120 health. That's bad. AZ, put one of your Pokemon in your hand. This 10-foot tall man will pick up my Darkrai and put it in my hand. At this point, I'm going to take my free knockout.
Mm-hmm.
So Dark Pulse at this point
Does
is
that
doing...
count the double dragon?
Yes.
That's pretty ridiculous.
So I'm at 140 damage. If I draw my other Double Dragon or a Max Elixir and another Darkness Energy, I can one-shot Greninja Break. And if I can one-shot Greninja Break, this game is ours. So I can. This is still a game I can turn around.
Yep. I can't believe this. I didn't imagine this was possible.
I'm very happy about this, especially with how absolutely horrid the start was.
Oh yeah, the start was horrid.
Now, the way I'm going to do this, basically all the broken trainers are supporters, yeah. So Professor Sycamore, discard your hand to draw 7. AZ, which is Scoop Up. Lysander, which is Gust of Wind. Hex Maniac, which is, oh god, Nightly no, not Nightly Garbage Rung. I can see the picture, it's just the goop. It's the dude in the suit with the goop. Things like that. Anyway, I've put our opponent in a... Ooh. Okay, so they're going to Lysander Garbodor. Or no, they're not. They need energy. Is there Lysander? Oh no, their Lysander got end. It wasn't used. It's still in their deck. Okay, I thought their Lysander was used, but no, we ended away. That's good. So anyway, Fisherman lets them pick up 4 energy from their discard pile.
Yep.
Yeah, I really like how things being supporters makes the game a lot more balanced. Like, yeah, you can do busted things, but only once per turn, and everybody has a bunch of them. Like, y'all get busted things. All right.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous how much draw and fixing and searching and stuff there is.
All right, so here's what we're doing. We're going to play Darkrai EX. We're going to use Ultra Ball, discarding Sycamore and a Versus Seeker. I just want to get a Pokemon out of my deck. So we're going to grab another Darkrai, and I need to count. There are two Darkness Energy left and a Double Dragon Energy. So I'm going to play Max Elixir, and I really want this to hit.
Yep.
But it's only a 2 and 16. So, all right, we're live. So let's put that on Darkrai. We need one more energy to be able to do lethal damage. So we're going to Versus Seeker for our Sycamore. I could grab something else, like N, but that's only 4 cards. God, N would be really good to get rid of all that water energy our opponent just drew.
But we'd only draw 4 as opposed to 7.
Right. That's tough. I'm going to put my faith in drawing 7. There's the Double Dragon and the Darkness. Ooh, also Parallel City. Ooh, Parallel City. Not something I want to... It allows you to lower the damage that water Pokemon deal by 20, but the other half, which you can't read, says your bench is 3.
Right, which would cause us to discard 2 Pokemon.
Which would be fine. Trubbish is fine, but I don't want to discard Garbodor. Anyway, so I'm doing
and
20,
everything else
40,
has energy
16.
attached to it, which we need.
Yeah, so we're going to set up this Darkrai like so. We'll get our knockout with Dark Pulse. Knock out that break, get a prize. And another energy. Now,
I think we're relative... Now we've stabilized, I think.
Decently. We do have a problem of our opponents being able to knock out this Darkrai, because they're going to be able to knock out this Darkrai. But we have a backup Darkrai. We're ready to go.
Yeah, and we have a Giratina, which isn't great, but we'll do 100 damage, which might be enough.
Right. What I would like to draw... Okay, they're just leaving their break in the back. what I would like, so they're going to do 160 here, or put me to 160 damage. As long as they don't have, yeah, so Moonlight Slash, put me to 160. I want to draw into my Float Stone. So let's use Trainer's Mail. There's 7 cards in my deck. This looks at the top 4. No Float Stone. Okay. We'll grab Zero Sick. Zero Sick lets you discard a tool or a special energy. At this point, I'm willing to N both of us.
That's shuffle, right?
Yes.
Not discard, so...
Correct. Now, let's go ahead and do that. So, N. Do I want to play my Stadium first? No, I really don't. So... Yes.
We're not dealing piddly amounts of damage. We're
there
knocking
it is.
it
There we go. That is what I wanted. So now with the Float Stone, I gain no retreat cost. Can retreat off of my super damaged Pokemon to my non-damaged one and deal, what, 220? 240.
Enough.
At this point, we're very good against Disruption. Our opponent has 3 different cards, but they might not even have energy. Yeah, Giratina is a Dragon Energy holder, and also a good attacker, and works very well against specific decks. Mega Evolutions can't damage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Sycamore means they can't play Lysander on the turn, and also they discarded the 2 cards they discarded did not have energy, and that's why they had to play the Sycamore. So now they're going with Bubble, which is the basic attack on Froakie here that paralyzes. I mean, that works.
Do we even play anything this turn? Like, do you put an energy on Malamar?
The ability doesn't work, so I don't...
No, but it does power up the flip coin if you need that. And it powers up anything else if something dies.
Yeah, let's go ahead and... the retreat cost on Garbodor is... These are dead if they get switched out into the active anyway.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Anyway, playing Sycamore would result in us losing the game, so we won't do that. I don't have a good way around, like, if this continues to work forever, but I highly doubt they're going to be able... For one, they actually lose the... Yep, there we go. So they actually lose the, like, race if they don't do anything else. We're just going to go ahead and Dark Pulse. Yeah, I have 6 cards remaining. They have 6 cards remaining. 1 prize left. We almost have this. This absolutely incredible comeback, which I did not expect. If they actually had a way to discard Pokemon tools, they could win this.
Mm-hmm.
But
unfortunately, that's not really common.
Well, usually 1 copy of Startling Megaphone is very normal. 1 copy. Mm-hmm. And there we go. The concession. So we turned that game around. Oh, this wheel is lying. We're going to get a box. When it does the reset, it doesn't notice.
Oh.
The reset happens at like 7. I haven't won a game since then because it's been all the stream. So we'll get a box and I'll get to show off the box. I'm very happy that we got there. Also, I had a quest. Quests are just like on Hearthstone. You do them and you get coins. Oh, do I not get a box? Oh, no, we do. Okay, yep. So this is the contents of the box. After you win, you spin that wheel and you get a mystery box. The mystery box can have tickets in it. It can have coins in it. It can have the game freezing in it. It always has the game freezing in it.
It can have a pack in it, I think, sometimes.
It can have a pack in it.
Or a cube, which contains a card sometimes. I think?
Not to my knowledge.
Did they get rid of the cubes?
I've seen...
Like the uncommon box?
You don't get those from the wheel, from what I've seen.
Oh, really?
Yep. I've never seen one of those out of the wheel. I've seen those out of tournaments. You get those out of tournaments a lot.
Yeah, they come out of tournaments. They come out of the... But I've seen them out of the wheel with me. Maybe they changed that, though.
They did recently change the wheel?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I got to show off a really... I'm really happy with that game.
That was a ridiculous match.
Yeah.
That was amazing. That was really great.
But yeah, so like I got a ticket out of the box, and every time you win, you spin that wheel, and if it's a box you haven't gotten, you get a box, and yeah, Benak has everything that I've ever seen in it. I've never seen 8 tickets, but I've seen 375 coins. But yeah, what else is there to show off in here? But yeah, so this is all standard decks. They are. I kind of showed that off earlier. Um, they're all out of cards that are from all the XY sets, and then expanded as XY sets plus the black and white sets. And then there's also on here, there's Heart Silver, Heart Gold, and Soul Silver, which aren't in expanded. Legacy is actually a pretty nifty format. It's not what you think that means.
Mm.
Legacy as a format actually means everything from X and Y backwards, not counting it.
Oh.
It's all older
Oh.
cards. So, like, Legacy is an old card format, but new printings of cards don't affect it, which means it's like right now it's sort of like modern, but the new sets like so one of the main things is in standard we have Professor's Letter in Trainers, which we've seen. We have Professor's Letter, which searches for 2 basic energy cards. This card is not in Legacy because it wasn't because it's in the XY set. So if I want to play Professor's Letter type effect, in there I actually have to play Energy Search, which is the same card but worse. The Legacy meta. I'll show off my Legacy deck. So I have one Legacy deck, and it's a ton of fun. Legacy has a lot of kind of busted things, and then a lot of not so busted things. And I'm playing a Garchomp deck. It's all about Garchomp. Dragon type, which means it's weak to itself, and it has energy requirements of 2 different types. We'll get to see this in action. So this is an older format. I really love Garchomp. Is one of my favorites. Not one of my top favorites, but Garchomp rules. So yeah, Bill does exist in Legacy. It's a support though. So the thing with Legacy on the online client is that it's not like an old format where all the cards are legal in real how it would be in real life, because they're only cards since the game existed online. So like there aren't cards from like the 15-year-old set.
Regrettably.
Yeah. All right. So hopefully, let's call heads. So they get to start. That's okay. My deck is all right going second. So my deck is all around okay, so I'm going to have to mulligan. So one of the thing about Legacy is that you have a different set of almost none of the cards you're going to see in my deck are in my standard deck, because standard doesn't have any overlap.
All right.
So like Professor Juniper is you might recognize because it's the same text as Professor Sycamore. But then there's Professor Oak's new theory. Shuffle your hand in and draw 6. The Hypnotoxic Laser, which is one of my favorite things. Okay, so we're going to start off with a Swablu. Okay, that's not so great. Swablu's not the greatest in this deck. It's only a support. But I get to play Swablu. But, like, so Hypnotoxic Laser poisons your opponent's Pokemon, and also flip a coin, it puts it to sleep on heads. Okay, so they're playing Kyurem, the Team Plasma Pokemon. Team Plasma is a type.
Yeah, I mean, it's not in Standard, so it's not a type I'm that familiar with.
Okay, so I drew my Jirachi. That's good. So Jirachi isn't the only EX I play, only for its ability. When you play it onto the bench, you can search your deck for a supporter and put it into your hand. Do I need this? Anyway, I'm going to play Hypnotoxic Laser. So Poison Kyurem and flip a coin to put it to sleep. Alright, good.
Hypnotoxic. Always.
It was going to sleep anyway. Sing just puts it to sleep. Now, do I
Yep.
want to play Jirachi for... Okay, I have an idea of what I'm going to do, and you'll kind of see how this deck rolls. So I'm gonna play Jirachi to grab a supporter. Yes, I already have 2 supporters in my hand, but they're not the 3 actually in my hand. Ooh, I could grab Getsus. Getsus is a very strange supporter. It reveal your opponent's hand, discard all items, and then draw that many cards. Or I'm sorry, shuffle them into your opponent's deck. Not discard. It's like my favorite freaking supporter because it's so strange and disruptive. But that's not what I want here. I'm actually going for Skyla. And Skyla just says search your deck for a trainer and put it in your hand.
All right.
So we're gonna... Okay. So this is gonna be the chain. So check this out. So we go ahead and Skyla. And we want to grab a Level Ball. Alright, Level Ball is a Pokeball that grabs 90 HP or less Pokemon. Alright, perfect. Well, it's last, but last affected you. You don't discard items, you draw that many cards. Level Ball. Alright, Level Ball, we're going to go ahead and grab Gibble.
Love that Gibble.
I know. And then play Gibble and attach an energy to the Gibble. And we'll pass, and hopefully this stays asleep.
That would be cool.
It's fine if it doesn't. So, its attack does 30 damage plus 30 to a bench. Okay, Sharon. Sharon is Tierno, but from, black and white. Also is much cooler than Tierno. Our opponent is playing Squirtle. So, Cubchoo. Ooh. If you're familiar with the base game of Pokemon, you might be familiar with what Blastoise's ability is. Oh, they're escape roping. Thank you. Escape rope forces each player to switch. I want this Gibble out there. Gibble's the main attacker. It does get rid of the poison, though.
Mm-hmm.
So you might be familiar with Blastoise. From the base game with Rain Dance. What if I told you Rain Dance existed in this? Just as is. Alright, so Rain Dance is real. Like, they never actually changed what Blastoise did. It still does Rain Dance. It's great. Altaria makes all your dragon Pokemon deal 20 more damage. That's the entire point of me playing it. I'm going to play Juniper to draw 7 new cards. Perfect. I drew what I needed. Gabite. Now, Gabite has an ability that makes this deck work. Once per turn, you can use Dragon Call to search your deck for a dragon and put it into your hand. We're going to go find a Gibble. Play the Gibble. We're going to use Level Ball. Level Ball can search for any Pokemon of, 90 health or less, which is every Pokemon that isn't named Garchomp in the deck. We're in Mr. Mime. Good. Mr. Mime never attacks. Mr. Mime just prevents all damage to benched Pokemon, which this Kyurem does, so I'm going to grab that. And then I'm going to play another energy on this Gibble. That's it. Rain Dance rules.
Rain Dance. It's pretty good.
Beartick. 20 damage times the number of damage counters on that. Shit. That's powerful.
Wait, did we poison that one?
No, we poisoned the...
good. The Kyurem.
Okay, so he's using Skyla to grab a switch to get himself back out. Beartick. Oh, dear. Is Pokemon Breeder still a thing? Yes, it's just called Rare Candy in this game. Okay, so Rage for 20 times the amount of damage on it. That's fine. Okay, so... Alright, so now I'm going to search my deck for a dragon.
Is
look.
it Garchomp?
No, it's not. It's Gabite. You want to know why?
Is he going to search for Gabite?
because I'm going to play Gabite, and then, once per turn, I get to search my deck for a dragon. I'm going to grab Altaria this time. I think I want Altaria this time. So, here's a problem I currently have. Beartic has 130 health. Alright? I'm just going to raise that as our current problem. And evolve to Garchomp. Garchomp does 100 damage for 2 energy. Problem is, we'll get knocked out by the 200 back.
Yep.
Okay, well, Altaria gives us an extra 20 damage. That's 120.
Still not quite enough.
If only we had some way to deal an extra 30 damage. Enter Junk Arm. Junk Arm discards 2 cards. You grab an item from your discard and put it in your hand. So we're going to go ahead and... We're going to discard Altaria. And we're going to grab... how else could we deal an extra 10 damage?
God. Hypnotoxic laser.
The stadium I'm playing says poison deals an extra 20 damage every turn as well.
Goodness gracious.
Yes. So, I deal 120, discard 2 cards, and then boom, the poison takes him out. And we get our prize, which is how we're going to try to replenish our hand. Audino. You can discard Audino to heal 10 damage and remove a special condition from your Pokemon.
Oh.
Yep.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah. It's in here in case, like, I get paralyzed. It's searchable by Level Ball, which is why it's in here. So the real reason I like the Garchomp is the first attack that discards special energy cards. And in Legacy, there's a lot of different special energy cards. Like the one that's attached to... right here, Blend Energy, which provides either water, lightning. Yep, our opponent has conceded because we're going to be using Garchomp to beat them up for the rest of the game.
Garchomp beats up everyone forever.
I wouldn't. Index isn't super. Like, Index alone isn't super playable. I was kind of hoping to get more knockouts there, but let me show you because we can see what our. Okay, so I can finally show this off. This is Blastoise. You might be familiar with, Index is garbage in Legacy 2. It's not really, yeah. Anyway, this is Blastoise. You might remember Rain Dance as the ability of Blastoise in the base game being you can play any number of water energy from your hand. They didn't change that. I love it. The other card that somebody asked if Pokemon Breeder still exists, it's called Rare Candy. It's not a supporter.
It is an item.
It just says you can skip stage 1. Like, you can play a stage 2 card that evolves from the basic and skip a stage. Yeah, and they're playing a wall of water energy. Their entire idea of their deck was just to go ahead and play out this Blastoise, and then set up like a Kyrium EX, which needs 4 energy for 150, but...
Yeah, unfortunately that didn't work out for them.
Right. Anyway, that's Legacy. I have a lot of fun with that because Garchomp is cool.
Garchomp is pretty cool.
Gnome, let me show you a playable index. There are 2 playable indexes that I can think of immediately in the game. One of them is an activated ability on a Pokemon that goes on every turn. Like, you can use it once per turn. And one is a card that has 2 different abilities. So if I go into... No, okay, let me get another 10 points. So this is the playable index I can think of first is called Puzzle of Time. Puzzle of Time, if you can play 2 of them at the same time. If you play 1 of them, look at the top 3 and put them back. If you play 2 of them, pick 2 cards from your discard pile and put them in your hand. With how much draw there is in this game, it's very easy to find 2 copies of Puzzle of Time.
Mm-hmm.
And it lets you...
I mean, assuming you have them.
Right.
It's kind of... They're rares, so they're not like...
Well, they're uncommons. This is a little diamond.
Oh, they're uncommon? Oh.
Yes, they're uncommons. And then the other one, the other playable one I can think of is Gallade. whose ability is once per turn, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and then put them back in any order. But Gallade is a lot more playable because it's like 150 health and has this ability attack that does 130 damage if you played a supporter during your turn for 2 energy, which, if only there was some way that you could provide double colorless energy on 1 card.
Mm.
But yeah, Gallade is really cool. I really love, like I said, one of my favorite things. Yes, once per turn before you attack. Attacking is the last thing you ever do in the game. There is no main phase 2. Yes, all the decks that play Gallade do not actually play Ralts and Kirilla. Kirilla. Yeah. They play Maxi's Hidden Ball Trick, which you can only play as the last card in your hand. Put any fighting Pokemon from your discard pile onto your bench.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yep. Oh yeah, I love the like special energies for every single different color. Like my favorite one, of course, is the fighting one that lets you just do 20 extra damage. But there's a lot of other good ones. The special energy for Psychic means your retreat cost is 2 less, so you don't have to discard the energies. The special energy for fairy types removes all other effects of an attack. The grass one heals. This one gets rid of weakness. Yeah, there's Maxi's Hidden Ball Trick, and then there's Archie's Ace in the Hole.
That's...
Yeah, Archie's Ace in the Hole, which is the same thing but for a water type. This one, I think, they're both like kind of fringely played and for cool things. Like you could just play Gallade in a deck that doesn't use fighting energy because it doesn't need fighting energy. And this one is more like, oh, I can sneak Blastoise into play immediately.
Yeah, that's... Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, like I was saying, my favorite thing about the game is that, like, almost every Pokemon has a viable, cool Pokemon that exists, and multiple of them. So, like, so people know that Metagross is one of my favorites. Metagross has multiple different, like, cool Metagrosses. Both of them are pretty... this one does 20 damage plus 10 for each card in your hand. Which... I love that. Just just stock up your hand, and there's a bunch of other different ones. There's a Metagross EX from an older, but this is how many Metagrosses exist just on the online client.
Yeah.
So
there are a significant number of Metagross.
Magna. This is what I misspelled. All right, Medibot, let me find you Magnazone. Magnazone. Okay, so Magnazone has the one you're thinking of. That this is the Blastoise ability for Lightning, which is like the real Magnazone. The old Magnazone just says from Legacy is just on your turn draw up to 6 every turn. And then there's also the Magnazone that lets you play 2 supporters in a turn. Like, all these Magnazones do cool things. And then there's Magnazone EX, who isn't the strongest EX Pokemon, but has I like its second attack of doing 50 damage to 2 different Pokemon. Yeah. Slaking? Alright, Slaking. Because I know Slaking's normal one isn't the greatest, because it's if your opponent has a basic Pokemon, it can't attack.
And your opponent usually places EX,
yeah,
which are basic, which is kind of bad.
Yeah, and the other one is Amnesia plus this. Like they all exist though. Like basically every Pokemon has some sort of cool, like every Pokemon exists and has multiple versions basically. Melodic
Amnesia's really good because a lot of Pokemon have an ability and one attack.
Yeah, it kind of forces, and also, it kind of forces them to like switch.
Mm-hmm. Or use a really suboptimal attack if they have 2 attacks.
Right, because like if we're talking about like say this Articuno, it has its bottom attack that's 20 damage plus 40 for each coin flip. The other ones just put you to sleep. It's like, okay, fine, and you just put me to sleep. Or like this other cool Articuno. Yeah, I think this one's more set this with just Find Ice.
Yep. That one shows up a
Show
lot when you
owned.
just need to throw shurikens at people.
Yeah. This one, you know, let's go ahead and play a deck that plays an Articuno. I have a deck that plays an Articuno. It's my water deck. It's not my
Yeah, that
water
makes
deck.
sense.
I didn't build this one. I built the fighting deck. I built the fire deck. I built the psychic deck. I did not build the dragons, the Genesect, or the water one myself.
I was hoping you'd have like a green deck in there so you could Mega Sceptile, but that's just because I like Mega Sceptile.
I've been meaning to get some copies of them, but then I traded off my 2 Mega Sceptiles for the 2 Junk Arms in my Legacy deck.
Yeah.
And alright, so we get to play Glaceon.
Mm.
So Glaceon... So, oh, by the way, there's like a normal art of a card, and then there's full arts.
Yep.
For a lot of the EXs. Anyway, this one does 20 damage plus 10 for each damage on your opponent's Pokemon, and then the bottom attack is what you're after, which is 70, and all evolution Pokemon can't deal damage next turn. So when you start the game, you have to put a Pokemon active, and you can put any number of Pokemon on the bench. But I don't want to actually put the Shaman on the bench,
Yeah.
because the entire point of Shaman is to be a card draw engine. Also, they have cool Shaman sleeves.
There are also some Pokemon that count
Oh my god.
the number of Pokemon on the bench, either your bench or your opponent's bench. And sometimes it's good just not to play too many bench Pokemon.
Our opponent is Jolteon EX. So, Glaceon EX stops evolution Pokemon from dealing damage. Jolteon EX stops basic Pokemon from dealing damage.
Yeah, that's a little bit better against our deck right now.
Yeah,
Kinda awkward.
I think I could set
I don't
up the
even know if
Shaman.
there's Mega Glaceon EX, is there?
There is not. There's no Mega EVA. I could play the Shaman to draw 1 card, but that leaves a really weak EX Pokemon on my bench for them to Lysander later in the game. So I'm just going to play Professor Sycamore.
Which regrettably gets rid of a lot of cards, but
Okay. We found some of the more useful Pokemon. Manaphy EX, which gives all Pokemon that have water energy them no retreat cost, and Seismitoad EX, which makes it so your opponent can't play item cards. We've kind of seen how that plays out.
yep.
I'm going to go ahead and put an energy on the Glaceon so that I can retreat it if I want. And I'm not going to use the Ultra Ball right now because there's nothing I want to grab at the moment. If I had another Shaman, if I owned another Shaman, I would probably do a long convoluted play where I Ultra Ball for a Hoopa for a Shaman, and 2 other Pokemon, and then play all those, and then draw a bunch of cards and take my turn for the next 6 years, because that's usually what you do in this game. Yeah, I like this. So you get to choose your sleeves, like, and your deck box and such. Like, our opponent has like the Blastoise deck box and the Shaman sleeves. I have the Charizard sleeves. A level ball. Are they going to? Oh, okay. They're doing Oddish. So, Oddish. So, a lot of the Pokemon, I talked about how a lot of the Pokemon have different versions of themselves. You know? And some of them have very common themes. So, Oddish, over the years, has had a very common theme, at least what Vileplume does. For multiple times over the course of the game, Vileplume has had the ability players can't play trainer cards. They have a nice full art Shaman. So if there's a card in this game that's like the $50 chase card that everybody wants, it's Shaman. Because every deck can have it. It makes your Ultra Ball better. Because, like, say your hand sucks, you can just discard 2 cards. Do Ultra Ball, go grab Shaman EX, play Shaman EX, draw 4 cards, and then everything's fine. And everything's fine. Everything's fine. So, it's going to be weird, though, because the Seismitoad... they discarded their Lysander. Which is fine, because they can just get it back later, because everybody gets to play Versus Seeker. They might not, though, because one of the things with Oddish... Okay, they're doing a very lengthy... Okay, Shaman, do the Shaman thing, Shaman... I don't
Right, this turn might go on for a while.
Right, they still haven't even played their supporter yet.
Yeah.
So even though the supporters still restrict you to 1 thing a turn, you can still get around it, like, you know, the impulsing. They keep playing max elixirs, but they don't have a really good max elixir target yet, which is probably what they're going to grab with this Ultra Ball, unless they're going to grab another Shaman. Yeah, so here's the Vileplume. Vileplume just says each player can't play item cards. So our opponent's trying to get rid of all their item cards before they play the Vileplume. And normally that would take some turns, but Forest of Giant Plants says plant Pokemon can evolve on the first turn. And they got another Jolteon. They just played 2 copies of Max Elixir and missed with both. So that's good
Oh,
for us.
good for us. Kind of bad luck for them.
Right. We are going to... I want this Jolteon dead before it can Flash Ray, but I don't think that's possible. What do I want? What Pokemon do I want to use in this? Okay, I know what I need. So I'm going to go ahead and Ultra Ball. I'm going to discard everything but Professor Sycamore because I'm going to be using Professor Sycamore here. So I'm going to go find a Pokemon in my deck. Oh no, it's prized. Oh boy. Alright. So this is one of the things about the game that's you have to work around, is that you can definitely have Pokemon like that are, you have 6 cards prized at the beginning of the game.
Hmm.
And you kind of have to work with that. So I'm going to actually grab Articuno. I feel like that's probably the next best thing here. I wanted to go grab Regice.
Yes.
Regice
That one
just...
says EX don't do damage.
Yes. Which is why I wanted it. Our opponent seems very attached to their EX Pokemon, so I wanted to, cut that off.
Yes.
Alright, so but we can set up this Articuno. That'll be fine. Articuno takes an extra prize when it gets a knockout.
Oh, because it's a Delta.
Yes, it has Delta Plus. So there's like extra text on some of these full art cards. I don't think I want to do anything else. So not having my Regice is going to be a bit of a problem in this game, just because of how easy it's going to be for that Jolteon to shut me down.
Hmm.
We'll have to work around it. That's fine. It means I'm going to have to be doing a lot of like Lysander play. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of Lysandering in that. Because Jolteon...
Lysander shows up 7 times in 1 hour.
Yeah, Lysander
Whoa!
just... Hi. Acrobike, another like item that sort of does card draw. You look at the top 2 cards of your deck, discard 1, other in the hand. Again, they have like these cool impulse cards. I like them. Ooh. Mew. And then they have the full art trainers too. Like you saw AZ earlier, and now you get to see super tall AZ who's wearing jeans and this little thing on his knee. I don't even know what that is. Thanks, AZ. Okay, so nobody can play items anymore.
No one talks.
Okay, that's kind of bad. I don't know how. I don't think this is a really winnable game for me from here. Wait, no. Okay, I know what I have to do. My opponent discarded their AZ. So, we are gonna go grab Vileplume. Vileplume has 3 retreat cost.
Okay.
So if I don't kill it here, which I usually wouldn't because I needed 3 heads to do the 140, this gives me some time to try to find a way to deal with these freaking Jolteons. Preferably maybe drawing 0-sick, something like that. Heck, I might just have to win this game by killing Shamans in the back. Anyway, I'm going to get the kill here. Yeah, so VS Seeker's an item, so I can't grab it back. But if I kill Vileplume, then I'll be able to. I'm going to set up Seismitoad EX next. Also, Articuno isn't an EX, so they're going to need 4 knockouts to win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let's get our 2 prizes. Yeah. I like this Articuno.
Yeah, Delta Pokemon are interesting. A lot of them are kind of iffy, but Articuno is pretty up there for the Deltas.
Yeah.
It's hard to search for the Deltas, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, like the search engine has a bit of problems. So, okay, so again, we're trying to find weird... I was hoping to draw my Regice, that was really what I wanted to... That's why I was fishing prizes. Now, here's the trick I do have. Flash Ray prevents damage. So, I can, if I get this working right, just use Articuno's first attack to put them to sleep. Anyway, first things first. Let's go ahead and play all our items.
Yeah, because we can.
Ooh, energy switch. I'm gonna grab that. Let's play our other trainer's mail. There we go, Rough Seas. I don't actually... Do I want to play Rough Seas? So Rough Seas says you can heal 30 from your Pokemon each turn. But the problem is it's water or lightning.
Yes, and they're playing a lot of lightning right now.
Yeah. Hmm. This is a problem. Really, I was hoping to find Zero Sick off of this, but that's alright. I think I want to grab the Rough Seas, but I don't... Like, playing it here might lose me the game, so... Now, here's my game plan. I have a plan for the next couple turns. So... I'm going to try to ignore these Jolteons. So here's the first step to ignoring Jolteon. I'm going to play Versus Seeker. Versus Seeker for Lysander. Lysander. Hi, Mew. Now, there's a couple different ways I could try and play this game. I could try and Lysander these and beat them up. I could try and... like, try to be tricky about it and get rid of the energy. I'm going to try the more sidestepping way. I am going to play the Rough Seas because I don't plan on damaging Jolteons anymore. So the play here, I need one coin flip here. So I need one heads. That's enough. So this attack is going to give me 2 prizes. Perfect. 2 more prizes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no Regice. Regice would have been helpful, but not necessary to the plan. The plan... how many Versus Seekers are left? 2 in my deck. The plan revolves around a card called Shaman EX, which is incredibly powerful in allowing you to draw
cards. Which we may have
cards.
seen before.
Yeah. Very powerful. Lets you draw cards, lets you, do... It does so much for you. But Shaman EX is an EX Pokemon with 110 health.
Mm-hmm.
My Seismitoad does 130 damage. So... Zero Sick is going to discard... Let's go with the DC. The idea here, and I'm going to go ahead and Ultra Ball to thin my deck. Yes. And we're going to go grab Hoopa. Because the name of the game here is Thin My Deck. Because I want one card for the rest of this game. And that card is right here.
Mm-hmm.
My main friend, Versus Seeker. Or Trainer's Mail for it. Because if I can just go ahead, pull out that Shaman EX for 2 more prizes, because Articuno, with its Delta ability, grabbed me 2 prizes that I shouldn't have gotten. I only need 2 more to win.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the name of the game at this point. I could switch in the Seismitoad and try to item lock my opponent, but because they were a Vileplume deck, I don't think they have a lot of items.
Yeah, or they've already burned them all before they played it. Have they played it?
Oh, they've found my idea. They're sky returning, okay.
Oh no. Well, bye.
Am I really going to end myself to 2 cards? Yeah. Alright. Yeah. I need that double colorless energy not in my opponent's deck in hand. So I'm going to end them. And then...
I really hope that's a typo in the chat.
Hmm. Well, let's deal some damage to some Pokemon. It's not enough to actually kill the Jolteoniacs, sadly,
No.
but it's close. Because what they're so Shaman's attack allows you to bounce it when it attacks.
Hmm.
So if they can just bounce the Shaman again, like that gets rid of my ability to get my final prizes. I'm completely fine with you playing more Shamans.
They're deep in the tank.
I understand. I mean,
We both are, but
right, like I'm trying to find a way to okay, ooh. Hmm.
so now we need to. Now we're in trouble.
Yeah, like them getting the whole Vileplume line there is really bad. Do I have one out to that? I don't think I do. I think that actually locks me out of this game
Hmm.
because I can no longer effectively hit this Jolteon. I can't. I don't have any Lysander left in the deck. They're all my Versus Seekers. Let's retreat. That's not what happened.
Did they concede?
I think they conceded because they certainly didn't lose, and they certainly weren't losing that game. My game plan from that point was to deck them. Yeah, they conceded.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Well,
yeah, they must have had to leave. Anyway, the idea I had from that point was to try to use Manaphy's attack, which heals 30 from your bench,
mhm.
along with Rough Seas to just buy time.
Yeah, that would help. I'm not sure if that would win you back, though.
No, I don't think like. I think the Vileplume locks me out of that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway,
That was
that's that deck.
strange.
That's that deck, though. I'm glad I keep getting to show off new things because like the Jolteon and Vileplume thing. Jolteon's a very powerful card.
Yeah.
Seismitoad's a very powerful card.
Jolteon just locks some decks out of the game.
Yes. Well, really, it means you have to do some weird Lysander plays to get them. But like,
Usually, yeah.
but yeah. So the Regice is prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon by Pokemon EX. That was the other Pokemon I wanted in that game.
When it attacks, I think it's for 3 to attack.
Yep. Regice. Yeah. I do really like the deck builder in this is pretty cool. Like it's pretty useful. Like if I'm looking for specific cards, there's multiple different like display modes, and it's pretty decent on the search engine. Like if I know what I'm looking for, it's like, oh well, I want to build the standard deck that is based around EX Pokemon Lightning because I know I want to build a deck around Manectric and Mega Manectric.
Yep.
You know.
There's also a gatherer, like I can't remember the name. Like it's basically a gatherer analog on the Pokemon website
Yeah.
that you can use to search card text if you need to.
I thought I owned 3 copies of Mega Manectric. Oh well.
Hmm.
But yeah, the well, you know, like okay, or you know, you can kind of come up with something, and the search is pretty good.
Yeah.
Was there anything else I wanted to show off?
We've shown off the tournaments. We've shown off a little bit of theme decks in Standard and Legacy.
Yeah.
Um, You show off trading, which is the big thing you do that I never touched.
Yeah, this is like how I end up getting a lot of my cards. Like like I said, this is just like a posting board, and it's like, okay, you search for like, I need another copy of Ghetsis for my legacy deck, and you can go and search that up, and or you can put a filter and say like, oh well, I want to trade off my Fates Collides pack. Show me everything that's that offer. Or I want, I want to find Articuno. Oh, yeah, this level means nothing.
Well, it means something up to level like 8, and then it means nothing.
Yeah.
It dictates how many quests you can get per day.
Well, no, you only ever get one quest per day.
Oh,
It's how many you get to choose from.
yeah, and how many you can slot? No,
Yeah, if
how
you
many you
don't
get to choose
use them.
from for sure.
But yeah, and so I really like this, especially uh, coming from Magic's terrible like trading interface. And it's like, oh well, I want to trade off my, I don't really need my junk arm. I can go ahead and like create a trade offer for it, and like, I want to get, I want to try and find, Magnazones and something like that. I like this client. Yeah, like 90% of these offers are garbage. I mean, like my Shaman EX is again like that's one of the like more expensive cards, and you'll see a lot of offers for it. That so like stuff like this, it's 26 freaking packs. Like yeah, that's sort of real, but then you'll see something that's like, oh, you want to trade like a Bidoof for it? I want a Bidoof. You want a Bidoof? Things like that. Um, but
You
yeah,
could probably build a deck around it entirely, like flip a coin until you get tails.
stream the Game Boy game for contrast. Yeah, sure, I'll probably do that at some point.
The Game Boy game is fun.
So if I want to build a deck, which I'll go through that here quick because I had a deck idea. So if I wanted to build a deck,
Oh, and by the way, those numbers are tradable versus untradeable cards.
yes.
The ones underneath the card there, if
So
you can see them even on the stream.
yep, you should hopefully be able to. So say I want to build the deck around Garchomp because I like decks around Garchomp. Yeah,
Garchomp is cool.
you cannot add more than 4 cards named Garchomp to your deck. Okay, cool. So, it shows the little evolutionary line, and me, I'm only including one Gabite. Well, why would I do that? Well, there's that trainer I talked about earlier called Rare Candy. And, well, how could I ever make this consistent? Well, we saw a trainer earlier, or a supporter, that lets you search your deck for a fighting Pokemon and an item. Well, if I have a Rare Candy, and I have a Garchomp, so then it's okay. Well, what other cards do we want to make this more consistent? We can add like level balls in to be able to search up the Gibbles at the start of the game. We can add in Professor Sycamore. Nothing wrong with Bidoof. I just don't want to trade my Shaman for one. Okay, I will give this interface one annoyance. It's very hard to search the card N.
That's true. That's very true.
But yeah, I really like the N as a
Maybe
card.
they should use his full name.
Yeah. Okay,
Naturalist Harmonious Group.
Harmonious Group. Yes, does that find me the card? Okay, it didn't
No.
work.
Damn, why the
Damn.
hell don't they have the alternate name?
What the heck?
Get with the program.
uh, there are real decks run by Bunnelby? Yes, Bunnelby is a pretty real card. I'm searching just on, but I don't know. I think this is like an actual game that's worth playing. Like, this Bunnelby. It can attack twice and it can shuffle cards from your discard back in your deck or mill your opponent. But yeah, I really like this game. It's been pretty fun. It's been something. It's basically been my like replacement for Hearthstone over the last month or so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you want to talk about Night March as a deck?
that one's funny. Um, I think I can just search Night March.
No, it's
Oh,
not a
no,
card name. It's an attack. So
okay.
it's
Oh,
a
no, oh,
Joltik.
well, I think. Well, the yeah,
Oh,
this
does it search?
it searches. I just had a filter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Night March does damage 20 times the number of Pokemon in your discard pile that have the attack at Night March. So you have a competitive ass deck that beats up decks. Like you have these super decks that play like, yes, I'll go ahead and play my huge Rayquaza. Like I want to play Rayquaza EX, and I'm gonna beat you up with my like Mega Rayquaza, and then a Joltik shows up and just kicks your ass. It's really good. I love it. Just this tiny little Joltik, because if you saw how fast you can go through your deck in this game. If you use cards like
Battle compressor.
Battle Compressor to show your deck for 3 cards, put them in your grave, or Sycamore to discard your hand, or Ultra Ball to discard 2 cards and search your deck for Pokemon. You can get that.
Yeah, it goes.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Um.
I guess the counterpoint to Night March is Round, which does damage based on the number of Pokemon with Round on your bench.
Yeah.
But I don't find that one's as powerful.
No, it's really not. If you want things like that, there are Altaria EX and Mega. No, not Altaria EX. Crap. Hold on. There's an EX that does that. Audino EX, or not the Mega Audino, but Audino EX does that. It's just 60 damage plus 10 free. So somebody talked about the Do the Wave on the Wigglytuff.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
If you remember Wigglytuff from way back in the day, Do the Wave. It's cool. But yeah, there's like there's EXs of a lot of these Pokemon, so it's like I want to build a cool deck around my buddy Kangaskhan. Hell yes. What else can I say? Oh, I can say if you are interested in watching more of this or seeing more of this, first things first, I'll have to go pet a cat for a while.
Oh no.
She's just out a window meowing. Anyway, but this weekend is nationals for the event.
Are they doing like live streams of that?
That's yes, at the link I've just posted in the zoo, which is just pokemon.com/live. It's a live stream of the nationals. Has something like 1,000+ players, and it has very high quality. Has very high quality commentary and like aesthetics to it. It's much better put on than like some of the other like streams I've seen for events. It's kind of silly. But yeah.
I can also recommend this Twitter account if you like the card names or the card moves.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's about all I had to show off in here. I want to do one more game before I let it go here. It's
surprisingly competent as an interface and like
let's try
as a balanced game. Like it doesn't feel unbalanced. Like there are cards that are really friggin' strong and like dominate the format, like Shaman, but you could still sort of play around them.
Well, that's okay.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna do one more game and then I'll call it for the night.
All right.
I want to show off one last deck, which is my fire deck, which is based around some Oh boy, this is not exactly the hand I want, but so based around Team Magma's Numel.
For now, anyways.
For now. Okay, luckily our opponent is doing something interesting. We'll get to show off a different mechanic we haven't seen yet, which is fossil Pokemon, like Aerodactyl here. Aerodactyl cannot be played normally. You can only put it into play from the power of Old Amber Aerodactyl. Or Omastar, which lets you search for a restored Pokemon and put it into play. So, looks like the good thing here for us is that this deck doesn't play a lot of basics that it can use, so we're going to get, we get 2 cards off of their mulligan. Also, we got information. So here's our 2 cards. There we go. There's the other Pokemon.
Mm.
Flareon EX. So let's go ahead and set up our Flareon EX. Hey, Sycamore, you are absolutely what I want with this many fire energy in my hand. We're going to try and max Elixir. Oh, it hit. Good. And we'll put that there. And I'm not going to bench the Shaman. I'm just going to discard the hand and draw. There we go. Here's the other useful card here. The Team Magma's Camerupt.
Mm.
So... we want to put another couple cards in the yard for us. Sadly, I only own 1 tradable Octillery.
Rip.
I'm going to go ahead and put some supporters in the yard for use later off of Versus Seeker. So let's grab Zero Sick and I'm just going to... Because I already have enough fire energy in the yard, I don't need to grab more. And I already have a blacksmith in the yard. I might be able to win next turn if my opponent isn't able to set anything else up. But yeah, so Flareon is really cool. Flareon, each turn, can steal a fire energy from one of your other Pokemon. Wow. But
Can't stream.
But the ooh. It's higher because there's some prized. Okay, so they've got their Jolteon EX, as we've seen before. It's higher than that. There's probably 2 prized. I think it's 13 fire energy in here. But yeah,
the power of searching makes the number of lands way lower than Magic.
Right. I love this camera. It's like they blew up a building or something, and this lady's just like hanging on for dear life as the camera op is running the hell away.
I don't play Pokemon I don't have tradable Octillery for sure.
Ooh.
I don't only have like 3 tradable cards.
Dang. So they used Archie's Ace in the Hole, that card I showed off earlier, to sneak Omastar into play. And now that Omastar's in play, it can just start grabbing. Every turn can go ahead and grab a new Aerodactyl from the deck.
Yeah, that's pretty strong.
Yep. So what I need to do is I need to get this Numel the heck out of the active. What's the retreat on that? I think that means I need to retreat it first. What I'm going to do is a bit weird. I don't have a good way to retreat in my hand. So what I'm going to do is actually use Blacksmith to pick up 2 fire energy. And retreat. I'd like to hold on to mine at the moment. It's being used in a deck. Thank you for the offer, though. So then Camerupt, every turn, gets to pick up a fire energy, and then Flareon, every turn, gets to steal a fire energy. I love it. So 110. Let's go ahead and put the muscle band on, and we're going to get our EX knockout.
Mm-hmm. That'll give us 2 prize cards.
Yep.
Can I suggest that you don't make a bunch of trade posts in the chat? Like, I'm sorry we can't trade your stuff, but yeah, you may want to go onto the forums and try there.
I really hope they don't have a... I hope they don't have a double colorless. I can knock this out if they don't. And if they do, I can pick up Lysander and do some knockouts. They have... Okay, town map. This is good. This will let us know what their prizes are. And Battle Compressor, trainers now. Okay, they did get the double colorless. But yeah, so the Aerodactyl that they're getting for 2 energy does 120 damage, which is pretty high from all things considered, seeing as 120 damage knocks out a ton of things I have around. Oh dear. Oh, that's kind of annoying. Oh, one last thing I'm going to do, just so you get to hear this. I have it. There's this really. The music is really bad. It's the same. If you like this one track over and over again, I'll turn it on for this one.
This one match.
This one match. I didn't have it on because there's only one music track, and if you keep hearing it over and over and over again, it gets a bit silly. All right. Jolteon. I can deal damage to Jolteon with evolution Pokemon. It's just basic. So Camerupt can do it. So I'm going to go ahead and... I think I'm going to just go ahead and try to set Camerupt up.
Are we, like, not grabbing the sound from the game, maybe?
Alright. You asked for it.
It's time for all the wacky sound effects.
Okay, everything is going to be super loud.
I can hear it through the mic, so that's how loud it is.
My god, I can't hear anything.
Welcome to hell.
Oh, I also have the... Okay, let's see... Ah, dang, it must be prized. Again, my one shaman. That's okay, I want to get another camera up set up. Yes, the sound effects are very loud. I agree.
I think we've proven our point.
I'm turning them down at least. There. Maybe that's more audible. The track's fine, it's just that there's only the one, and it's not as... I'm more used to just the Hearthstone thing. Oh, did I discard the Shaman earlier? I did! Dang. Whatever, I mostly need to get another camera up going, because this is going to get knocked out way too quick, is the problem. Luckily, it's actually going to be very easy for me to beat up this Jolteon EX. So here's the game plan for the rest of the game. I'm going to beat this Jolteon EX, like, in the face, okay? Like, I'm just going to beat it up. A lot, okay? That's the game plan. Because
I don't know if that's going to work that well.
It'll be just fine. The trick here to making it work... Thank you.
Oh.
I'll take 3 new cards. So the trick here is I'm going to take 70 damage down to 40 left.
Oh, we got Floatstone.
That's good. That's going to be helpful in a little bit. So the idea is I'm going to use Camerupt to deal another 60 damage to this Jolteon, bringing it to 120. Then my Camerupt's going to die. I'll give up a prize, whatever. The next Camerupt, which needs to have appeared by then.
Yeah.
Oh, Omastar Break. Oh boy. So Omastar Break just forces a switch. I missed that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, Omastar Break is quite powerful.
Also, water might mess us up quite a bit.
I honestly doubt they even have water energy in their deck.
That's possible.
I think the Omastar's here just to pick up these Aerodactyls. Okay, so they're gonna get the knockout on my EX. A bit sad, but that's alright. So, now I still want to pick off this Jolteon if possible. Ultra Ball's good. It's Burning Draft.
Yeah, Burning Draft is free. We died to Jet Blaze, don't we? From
Right.
Aerodactyl.
Right. That's why I'm thinking about not playing that Floatstone.
Yeah.
Alternately, I'm going to, I'm going to do this. So sometimes cards wiggle when they like try to tell you to play one. I want Flareon back. So Flareon, let's try a Max Elixir. Perfect. So that's 1 energy. Okay.
Do we have a swap in the yard? A Lysander in the yard?
We do, but we're not, we already played a supporter
Oh,
this
right.
turn.
To do Sycamore.
However, I am going to get the kill. I am actually feeling good about this now. So here's the plan. So we're going to go ahead and Flash Fire to steal an energy from Camerupt.
So that our losses when it dies are less.
Well, the thing is, they can force me to switch into Flareon.
But it won't die to
One attack.
120.
That's correct. What I am going to do is I need to set up another battery.
The second Camerupt plan.
Yes, I need to set up another battery here.
In case we lose ours.
Yeah. So the idea here, so we're gonna Camerupt. Flash Fire to steal the one off the active. And then we pass. I want to kill this Jolteon. Following that, I want to kill the Shaman. And that's my game
And
plan.
then you win.
That's my game plan. That's my... It's always important to have a path to victory in what you're doing, a way that you can see the win rather than just stalling for time. And that's my path. My current path is trying to kill that Jolteon first, followed by the Shaman second. It might be I'm liking that my opponent has a lot of double colorless committed to the board.
Yes.
Alright, so yep, they're going to force me out and hit me.
How many cards are left in their deck? 20 something?
14. Perfect. Okay, so gonna have Flareon steal from a Camerupt. And then we're going to go ahead and we'll have this Flareon steal from a Camerupt. And we're going to go ahead and Lysander. So it's 50 plus 20 for each fire energy attached, which is enough. But first, we need to go ahead and charge up the batteries. This is why I like this deck. It's all about charging up these Camerupt batteries. It's very silly. Alright, so Blaze Ball gives our 2 prizes, and now we only need 2 more to finish this one off. So we're just going to have to find a way to claim 2 more prizes, is all. Yeah, fossil Pokemon are quite strong, because they are quite difficult to get into play. Like,
Yeah.
Omastar's ability on Omastar Break is so... Like, that's Lysander every turn, you know? Like... That's why they don't even need to be using this for the attack. They just get a free supporter every turn. And now that... Oh, by the way, now that I'm under 2 prizes, the music has gotten more... tense. That's just the way of it.
Yeah, that's 3 double colorless on the board. That's
4.
Oh, that is 4. I see the 4th now. That is wow.
Ooh. And they're using their puzzle of time? Please tell me they're using a double puzzle of time here. So, if all 4 double colorless are on the board, if I discard the double colorless on this Jolteon,
it's unable to attack.
Right. And I have a supporter in here, 0-6, that's discard the special energy. Yeah. You'll play that shaman. Okay, so N is very powerful when you're on low prizes, putting me down to 2 cards left. You know, that's going to be very difficult for me to... I need to find a Versus Seeker. Luckily, Trainer's Mail's in hand, so that's good. And I also still have my engine.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, they've given me an opening. So if I can find Lysander, I can just pull the Jolteon off the bench and win. So let's go ahead and Trainer's Mail, top 4. We don't want to N. Actually, do we? Our opponent has 6 cards in hand. I think it might be worth ending.
Do we want to play our hand first?
Yes. Maybe not the Flareon. Maybe we do want the Flareon.
I mean, it's 2-on-2, so I don't know if it even matters. But then again, they'll just swap out to the energyless one.
Yeah, but it's not energyless for long. Like it can.
Yeah, it'll flash fire this turn and next turn, so that'll be at least 2.
That's still a bit low.
Yeah.
Anyway, I need to flash fire in order to deal 130 damage to kill this Aerodactyl. I'm kind of thinking I don't actually play the Flareon because that can leave me... Well, that actually can't leave me stranded. I can always retreat. Let's play it so we have 1 less card to draw off the end.
All right.
Okay, then.
Draw victory.
Thank you. Yeah, if I could pick cards to draw, that'd literally be them, so... Versus Seeker is the most flexible card I could possibly draw. Let's go ahead and do all our battery charging. I'm doing the charging this way so that I have a camera up that could possibly attack. Okay. Battle Compressor. A little late, but it would let me thin out the deck of cards that are just useless. So yeah, at this point, any knockout is a win. Ooh, Maintenance. This is not a very powerful card or good card in any way. Shuffle your 2 cards into your hand in your deck and draw 1 card. They're using it because the copy of RGAs in the Hole needs to be the only card in your hand. So it's a way to reduce that deck. Now, the best play I think they could make here would be using the Omastar Break to pull out one of my bad retreating Pokemon. Anyway, let's go ahead and Lysander for the win. Which, those are very common words in this game.
Yep.
Thank you, Flareon. I love this Flareon. Then we get a new box.
I can't believe we got to see Archie's Ace in the Hole.
Yeah, I love that card.
I never expected to see it played. I'm just amazed.
It's really powerful, and like you saw what it did. They get to set up these Aerodactyls. We basically won by using Lysander tricks. We can take a look at our opponent's deck here.
Yeah, it was a really amazing play.
Yeah, like they have the one. Also, our opponent's name was Professor Eevee. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I felt really good using the Flareon against them.
They have a golden. This is like a secret rare version of it. You see that it has like golden. But yeah, 1 Archies because that's all they need. I'm sorry, they have two. Because one could be prized, they're playing two copies.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Wait, were they playing an unknown?
Yes, they need something to set up.
What does it do?
On your turn, if it's on the bench, you can discard it and draw a card. Doesn't count as a knockout. They're playing 8 Pokemon they get to start with. 2 Jolteon, 2 Unknown, 2 Jirachi, which discard special energy, and 2 Shaman. Oh yeah, that's the thing to note. This is 100 of 108, or 110 out of 108. You can print it. I can print it that close if I wanted. Oh. Okay.
Oh, wow.
That's a good end to this. So I get the box that has 375 tokens in it.
Alright.
So that's a good,
That's like 2 packs.
That's about 2 packs. It's a pack and 7/8 as far as it goes.
So we've made a definite profit on the night.
Yeah, even with just like buying packs at random.
Yeah.
So, oh, there's also different music on different of these pages.
This is like opening the legendary in Hearthstone.
Yeah, so that's the Pokemon trading card game. It's a little bit of a grind to start out as far as like playing actual standard decks that aren't like the theme decks.
Yeah.
But
I find theme decks kind of fun because it's kind of like playing in like the Tavern Brawl.
Sometimes. Yeah, and also like, you know, I own a bunch of these, but to be quite honest, the basic ones you start with are like the most powerful.
They are. I think they're. I don't know if I'd go with most powerful, but they're definitely powerful enough to stand on their own.
Yeah.
Like, there's definitely no problem if you're only running the basics.
Yeah. I mean, I like Battle Ruler's my favorite. This one is the one I will swear behind. Yeah, it's kind of like Draft because everyone's on the same crappy level.
Yeah.
Sometimes you draw your opening hand and it's like, oh sweet, I drew Larvitar and Pupitar in a deck that doesn't run Tyranitar.
Red is good if it gets like its combo off, and then it kind of crushes you. If it doesn't get its combo, it kind of is eh.
So,
I find Night Striker is one of the best theme decks to buy, but I think everyone knows that now. So,
yeah, I think the newest ones are really solid because of like because Zygarde does way too much damage for 3 energy, and also
power creep is real.
Well, it's not like it's the only thing that does that. Like,
no.
Because
it's not the only thing that does it, but it feels like every theme deck, like every time they put out new theme decks, it gets a little better and a little better.
Like, because I mean, if we're looking at older theme decks, like the one you're talking about, also does 120. It's really
120 for 3 discarded energy.
So yeah. Anyway, that's the Pokemon trading card game. If you're interested in seeing more of this, the Pokemon.com/live stream has /live end of line stream has nationals going on right now, which you can see some high production value, top level play. You can also watch like actual Pokemon, like the actual game going on this weekend as well. Things like that.
Mm-hmm. Or you can just download the game and try it if you want.
Yeah, it's free. But yeah, that's it. I just wanted to show this off because it's been taking up like my Hearthstone time as of late, and I've been really enjoying it. So hope y'all.
I'm glad.
Hope y'all enjoyed it.
Thanks for joining us, and I hope you've enjoyed.
Yep.
Have a great evening.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. By the way, have you discovered there's a